Chapter 571. Under Ji-Yu's orders, everyone turned the city lord's mansion into a temple. From the outside, one could see a magnificent hall that was exceptionally eye-catching. Since In City was located in the middle of the three cities, it was built in the middle. After building a new city, they would be able to build a new country with it as the center. Ji-Yu led everyone to a small mountain peak. With a wave of his hand, countless experts climbed up and looked down. It could be said that everything was ready. Ji-Yu looked at the last city in the Bedlam land. There were thousands of soldiers guarding the city, and all of them looked like elite soldiers. He looked down. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. If he could take in these elite soldiers and turn them into an army of Xian cultivators, no one in the 7 great empires would be a match for him. He felt the killing intent of these 30,000 Xian cultivators. The city lord of the city walked out quickly. Reporting to the city lord, "We have discovered a huge army in the northeast." The city lord looked in the direction of Ji-Yu and the others. He had long sensed this terrifying strength. However, he sucked in a breath of cold air. Ji-Yu looked into the distance and saw a huge army slowly walking out. Everyone's eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. However, Ji-Yu waved his hand and an even bigger army walked out. With the strength of their Xian energy, they firmly suppressed the other party. Sensing Ji-Yu's terrifying Xian energy, the city lord trembled. The city lord trembled as he walked out. "Don't fight, don't fight. Let's talk things over." Ji-Yu urged his horse forward. "I represent the temple to reclaim the Bedlam lands. We are willing to surrender, we are willing to surrender. Don't fight, let's talk things over." The general beside him saw how cowardly his city lord was. He stepped forward and said solemnly, "How can the city lord surrender without a fight? Isn't this?" Ji-Yu looked at him with satisfaction. "If that's the case, General, you have a different opinion." "That's right. You can't lead us." Ji-Yu smiled faintly. "Whether I can or not depends on my strength." Saying this, his figure emitted a blinding mystic glow. Seeing the mysterious light emitted from Ji-Yu's body, everyone sucked in a cold breath. An expert of the spirit profound realm, moreover, an underage spirit profound realm expert. Looking at the color of this profound light, could it be that young master is already an expert of the 5th layer or above? The general's eyes were filled with astonishment. Ji-Yu said indifferently, "6th level of the spirit profound realm, Ji-Yu, great divine envoy of the Ice Seal sect." The general knew that he was no match for Ji-Yu. "I submit, but I have a request. I wonder if young master can agree to it? Tell me about it. I want to spar with young master and see the difference between us." Ji-Yu nodded and said, "You can do it." The general's eyes lit up. He slapped his horse and leaped into the air. A long spear appeared in his hand. He was seen thrusting towards Ji-Yu's direction. The long spear suddenly emitted a ray of light in the air. In an instant, it turned into countless long spears and stabbed towards Ji-Yu's direction. Ji-Yu raised his hand to block them. The long spears in front of him all stopped outside the Qi barrier. Ji-Yu lightly swung his hand. At this moment, the long spears flew in another direction and all of them stabbed into the cliff. Ji-Yu said indifferently, "You don't need me to do anything, right?" After hearing this, the general who was praised as a genius by everyone immediately admitted defeat. Ji-Yu took back the last city. He renamed all 3 cities. From today onwards, the 3 cities will be named Army Destroyer, Heaven Opening, and Burn City. The 3 city lords will be chosen from the original civil officials. From today onwards, the Sacred Army will be in charge of the city's security. The city lords will only be in charge of the people's livelihood. Everyone understood that Ji-Yu was seizing power. He was taking away all the power of the city lord. Ji-Yu said indifferently, "From today onwards, the Bedlam lands will officially be called the Southern Region Empire." Everyone looked at each other and knelt down. "We pay our respects to the king." Ji officially became the first king to have real power other than the king of spiritual treasures. He said indifferently, "Pass down my order. The 7 empires are to surrender. Otherwise, don't blame me for bringing my army." Several black-robed messengers received Ji's letter and ran out. Ji sent out a few more people. Soon, the Alchemist Guild and the Weapon Craftsman Guild sent their elite members to the southern region. After being crowned as king, Ji felt a large amount of energy coming from the earth veins. This energy was not Xian energy. He sent people to investigate the history of the Bedlam lands, hoping to find some clues. After the arrival of the major guilds, suddenly a huge tremor came from the earth veins. Who is it that wants to establish a new empire here? An angry roar seemed to come from the heavens. The earth suddenly cracked open. A giant dragon's shadow came from the ground. Ji said indifferently, "What's going on?" The remnant spirit floated beside Ji. "It seems that the legends are true." "What legends?" "It is said that every empire has a giant dragon seal. That's why the king has another name, the son of the dragon. However, this dragon that represents the empire is in its weakest state right now. It seems to be dying. Then what should I do?" The giant golden dragon floated in the sky. There was a faint sound of thunder around it. The remnant spirit said indifferently, "If you want to become a true king, you must guide this golden dragon into your body. I will teach you a chant. Remember it." The remnant spirit tapped on Ji's head lightly. An incantation was instantly imprinted into his soul. He stood up abruptly and said to Ji indifferently, "You can do it now." Ji glanced at Xiao Gu. Xiao Gu took Ji into the sky. The floating golden dragon asked, "Little girl, are you the ancient dragon of calamity?" Xiao Gu looked at it curiously. "You're so weak." "Haha, I'm the dragon vein that was nurtured by the Southern Region Empire. After thousands of years in the Bedlam lands, it's natural that I'm weak." At this moment, an enormous amount of dark force floated out from Ji's body. It floated into Ji's body. The golden dragon said indifferently, "Little girl, don't be so arrogant." But then, Ji's dark energy entered the golden dragon's body. The golden dragon suddenly roared and an incomparably comfortable feeling entered its body. The golden dragon suddenly circled around. It flew into the sky and let out a roar. Suddenly, the sky shook a little. "That's so comfortable. Kid, you're actually a spiritual profound realm expert and the new emperor of the Southern Region Empire?" "Yes," Ji said indifferently. The golden dragon looked at Ji with satisfaction. It circled around in the sky and rushed into Ji's body. Ji stood up again. "From today onwards, the dragon vein will enter your body. From today onwards, the southern region has a new emperor." Suddenly, the golden light shone on the ground, and the surrounding golden light gradually dispersed the dark clouds that originally covered the sky. Everyone on the ground raised their heads to look at the sky. They took a deep breath. "This is the emperor. This is our emperor." As Ji ascended the throne, the surrounding ground started to shake violently. In the imperial capital of the 7 great empires, the Lord of Numinous Treasures was the most powerful emperor in the 7 great empires. Before Ji, he was the only one who could control the entire empire. The rest of the royal families only existed in name, and that was it. A ray of sunlight poured into the sky, dispersing all the surrounding dark clouds. The light shone on the ground. The Lord of Numinous Treasures seemed to hear the dragon vein talking to him. "Another emperor has been born in the southern region, and he has obtained the ancient dragon's dragon vein." "What? The ancient dragon vein? That's something that hasn't appeared for hundreds of years." He sucked in a breath of cold air. Why wasn't I the one who obtained the dragon vein? Maybe the new king is the true ruler of the 7 great empires. The dragon vein he obtained is the dragon vein of the Southern Region Empire, not a branch dragon vein like ours. If I can devour it, I will be able to become the true dragon vein of the empire. After saying this, the Emperor of Numinous Treasures clenched his fists. He looked at the land of chaos. I want to be the real emperor. I want to be the real emperor. He roared angrily and looked up at the sky. However, at that moment, countless birds appeared in the sky. One of them grabbed the bird's leg and flew into the sky. He jumped onto the bird's back. Many cultivators in the surroundings jumped onto the bird as well. The emperors of the other empires also received the news from their respective dragon veins. However, they felt that they didn't have the strength to deal with Jiyu. After thinking about it, they decided to work together. Perhaps only then could they have a tomorrow. One of them said, "Your Majesty, if you don't mind, I can help you call for the union of the 7 great empires." After hearing this, the Emperor of the Puppet Empire, Rongbuk, stepped forward and laughed. "All right, let's call for the gathering of the 7 great empires. The gathering of the kings hasn't been held for thousands of years, right?" Hearing this, the ministers looked at each other. Thousands of years ago, all the emperors wanted to participate in the gathering of the kings. However, thousands of years later, no one cared. None of the empires were the same as when the Southern Region Empire was divided into the 7 great empires. The descendants of the Southern Region Emperor had long been buried in history. The Puppet Empire's invitation was immediately accepted by the other empires. Chapter 572. Rongbuk's invitation was accepted by all 7 empires. However, the King of Spiritual Treasures' order was to hold the Pact of the Kings in the Kingdom of Spiritual Treasures. This news was overheard by many people in the Alchemist Guild. Under Jiyu's arrangements, the Alchemist Guild began to circulate among the 7 empires. Many people were willing to join Jiyu's Southern Region Empire. A secret report was passed to Jiyu. Jiyu put down the secret report with a smile on his face. Seeing his smile, even the most bloodthirsty Kwangshu swallowed a mouthful of saliva unknowingly. "How does my king plan to deal with the Pact of the Kings?" Jiyu said indifferently, "I naturally want to join in the fun." Jiyu naturally wanted to join in the fun. However, the purpose of this trip was to test the strength of the 7 empires. Xiao Gu also shouted that she wanted to follow Jiyu. Jiyu patted her head and said, "You stay here and help me look after this place." Jiyu rode on his horse and sped towards the Kingdom of Spiritual Treasures. The capital of the Kingdom of Spiritual Treasures, Spiritual Treasures City. Every building here was built with jewels. From the outside, it looked like it was glittering with gold. Jiyu handed a bag of gold coins to the guard. Holding the heavy gold coins in his hand, the guard happily made an inviting gesture. Jiyu was dressed in black. He walked into an inn. There were about 7 to 8 floors here and the decorations were exquisite. Jiyu walked to the counter. "A guest room." The innkeeper asked for a moment and checked the account book in front of him. "Sir, you are in luck. We happen to have a room here." However, at this moment, a sound came from outside the door. A white-haired old man walked in. He swept his cold gaze across the crowd and said to Jiyu, who was standing in front of him, "Boss, is my room ready?" This room has been taken by this young master." The old man snorted. "Don't you know who this old man is? I am a member of the Jing clan, and this room is reserved by the Jing clan all year round." Jiyu said faintly, "Waiter, give me the key." When the old man saw that Jiyu was struggling to even look at him, he slapped the table. "Kid, didn't you hear what I said just now?" Jiyu smiled faintly. "Uncle, I came first. You should wait for a while." As his voice fell, the profound energy on the old man's body suddenly lit up. A mysterious light enveloped his body. The surrounding citizens who were drinking were terrified. "This is a spirit profound realm expert." They hid behind the table anxiously. "A spirit profound realm expert, this brat is in trouble." "That's right. This brat is too arrogant. He dared to provoke the Jing clan's housekeeper. Isn't he courting death?" Jiyu looked behind her. The steward of the Jing family roared. "Profound skill, human-beast unity." Suddenly, as the roar rang out, a gigantic lion appeared on the old man's body. It glared fiercely at Jiyu. You actually absorbed the profound beast's soul into your body. The old man smiled complacently. Of course. With this profound beast's soul, this old man obtained the beast's soul when I advanced to the spirit profound realm. I can use the body of a cultivator to display the profound beast's abilities. Brat, take this. As soon as he said this, Jiyu suddenly flew out and arrived in front of Jiyu. He threw a heavy punch in the direction of Jiyu. As the punch came down, Jiyu reached out to block it. The old man's mouth let out a smile. The old man thought, Brat, you actually dared to use your own body to block my attack. Aren't you courting death? His fist was capable of shattering an enormous rock into pieces. Jiyu reached out to block the punch. She didn't move, but the old man's eyes widened. Then, with a twist of his body, Jiyu flung the old man away. The old man didn't expect Jiyu to have such great strength. He stepped on the pillar, then turned around and landed on the ground. The profound chi in his hand became incomparably strong in an instant. Brat, you have some skills. Take this. Profound skill, lion's exploding claw. His hands turned into sharp fingernails and he flew out. With a claw, the green bricks on the floor turned into rubble. He twisted his body on the ground and threw a punch in the direction of Jiyu. Jiyu took out the war hound's blade and slashed down heavily in the old man's direction. The old man's eyes widened. He suddenly retreated, and a few of his claws landed in front of Jiyu. Jiyu slashed down with his saber, and with a cracking sound, the old man's claws were shattered one after another. He took a few steps back. Jiyu said indifferently, Come. As soon as the words left his mouth, the old man infused his Xian energy into his iron claws. The green profound chi was swung out heavily at this moment. Jiyu suddenly flew forward and disappeared from the spot. The old man was shocked. Ding, the host used the 3000 cloud movement. Obtained 999 times experience. In the blink of an eye, Jiyu flew into the sky. In the blink of an eye, Jiyu waved his hand and the war hound's great sword turned into a large blade light. In the next second, the saber fell heavily on the ground. A loud rumbling sound rang out. The surrounding people were sent flying. The shopkeeper anxiously shouted, Don't do it, don't do it. After shouting this sentence, the surrounding people all stopped what they were doing. Masters, can you not fight in the shop? This small shop can't take this loss. Jiyu took out a bag of gold coins and threw it into the other party's hand. He suddenly stood up and said to the old man in front of him, Let's go outside? The old man coldly snorted and brought Jiyu out of the door. The two of them looked at each other, then he suddenly ran out and flew into the air. After absorbing the dragon vein, Jiyu felt a powerful Xian skill being channeled into his body. Jiyu had a large amount of profound chi in his body, which was enough to support this profound skill. You can actually fly. He suddenly opened his eyes wide, and there was a look of fear in his eyes. Jiyu said indifferently, It's just flying. Old uncle, be careful. He instantly flew forward and his figure was incomparably agile. At this moment countless fists were thrown out. One punch after another came at him without stopping. Jiyu kept throwing out his fist. After the fists hit the flesh, loud rumbling sounds could be heard. The old man had originally thought that he would be able to block Jiyu's mystic skill by relying on the strength of his body. But as the fists came down one after another, his eyes widened and he spat out a trace of blood. The chi aura around his body suddenly shattered. He fell to the ground. His breathing was extremely weak. Jiyu helped him up and stuffed a pill into his mouth. The old man never expected that Jiyu would let him go. He bent down and said to Jiyu, I'm very sorry about what happened just now. If you had told me properly, I would have given you the room on account of your age. The old man cupped his hands. This room should be given to you. I see that you are a talent. I wonder if you are interested in becoming our Jing family's distinguished guest. Our Jing family has a reputation in the Spirit Treasure Empire. There's no need. Sir, please wait. We have been invited to witness the King's alliance. Sir, are you sure you don't want to consider? Ji stopped and asked indifferently, You can really participate in the King's alliance? He straightened his body and patted his chest. Of course. I am willing to follow you to the Jing family. Of course. With your skills, as long as you are recommended by my master, you can easily get an official position. Hearing this, Ji made an evil smile. The old man thought that Ji was a greedy person. After returning to the Jing family, seeing that Ji was here, the Jing family head walked out. He glanced at Ji and asked indifferently, Housekeeper, this is? Ji cupped his hands and said, This one is Ji. This young master is a spirit profound realm expert. What? He opened his eyes wide and looked towards Ji. Even the Spirit Treasure King was only at the 5th level of the Spirit Profound Realm. But Ji actually had the strength of a Spirit Profound Realm expert. How could his strength be at the Spirit Profound Realm? He immediately walked forward and said to Ji, From today onwards, you are our Jing family's honored guest. A few 17 to 18-year-old children walked in. After cupping his hands and seeing his father and Ji, the Jing family head's eyes suddenly turned and said to Ji, Mr. Ji, would you accept them as your disciples? The Jing family head had an expectant look on his face. The children frowned. They didn't know why their father wanted them to be apprenticed to someone younger than them. This was simply humiliating. But with filial piety, they thought that their father must have been deceived by this Ji. They would expose him in class. They all thought of this at the same time. Ji looked at them with eyes full of challenge. The corner of his mouth revealed a trace of a smile. The housekeeper whispered into the Jing family head's ear. Seeing that Ji still didn't agree, the Jing family head said indifferently, As long as Mr. Ji is willing to teach my children, this one can fight for an official position in front of His Majesty. After saying this, a few people around them came forward and looked in Ji's direction. Ji said indifferently, Then this one won't refuse. I accept your request and I will do as you say. Then let us begin. Chapter 573. Among the Jing family's children, the oldest was a 17 or 18-year-old boy. He took a step forward and cupped his hands. I am Jing Xing. Teacher will be waiting for you in the courtyard. Jing Yang, Jing Shui, Jing Fei. The 7 children reported their names, and in the blink of an eye, they disappeared on the spot. Seeing that Ji did not move, they felt proud. Father, did you see that? The person you found is a liar. There is no way he can keep up with our movements. Jing Xing smiled proudly in his heart. The Jing family head watched his children fly to the courtyard at such a fast speed. Could it be that he really hired a fake? Could it be that he could not even match the speed of these children? He began to suspect his steward. Could it be that his steward had such guts? Ji took a step forward. Ding. Host used 3000 clouds movement. Experience gained 999 times proficiency. Ji only took one step forward, and in the blink of an eye, the distance had shrunk by 1,000 miles. In the blink of an eye, she appeared in the backyard. The Jing family head rubbed his eyes. He only blinked his eyes. Where did Ji go? Ji brewed a pot of tea. In a moment, the remaining children arrived one after another. When they saw Ji drinking tea, their eyes widened. When did Ji arrive? Ji slowly opened her mouth and said, You're all here. Release your Xian Qi for me to see. The children looked at each other, and Jing Yang was the first to take a step forward. 3rd level of Tongxian realm. Not bad. Seeing that someone took the lead, the remaining children all stepped forward and released their Xian Qi. Jing Sheng was the last to release his Xian Qi. He, who was hailed as a genius, had already broken through to the Spirit Profound realm. His eyes were filled with pride. Ji Yu glanced at him and furrowed his brows. You're almost 18 years old. Is this all you've got? Jing Sheng had always been praised by others since he was young. When had he ever heard such humiliation? He was slightly stunned and did not react. Ji Yu said calmly, "Everyone, run 20 laps. Let's go." The children started running one after another. Only Jing Sheng didn't move. Ji Yu glanced at him and said, "Why? Are you a woman? There are also times when it's inconvenient." Hearing Ji Yu's words, Jing Sheng was so angry that he almost vomited blood. "What right do you have to humiliate me like this? I am the most outstanding genius in Jewel City. I am the youngest and most powerful existence here." Ji Yu shook his head and took a step forward. His body emitted a 5-colored aura, and a mysterious light instantly enveloped his body. He looked at the color of Ji Yu's aura, which was still changing. Jing Sheng thought that this guy should only be in his teens. How could this be? How could there be such a genius? He originally thought that he was already very powerful. He didn't expect that Ji Yu was actually an expert above the 5th level of the spirit profound realm. His body went soft and fell to the ground. Ji Yu said calmly, "In this continent, if you haven't reached the spirit profound realm at the age of 18, then what can you be if you're not trash?" Hearing Ji Yu's words, both of his hands clenched into fists. He stood up and looked in Ji Yu's direction. "Teacher, I was rude just now. I'll go now." Under Ji Yu's torturous training, the few of them felt that their profound strength had improved a lot in just a few days. Ji Yu asked them to form a team and spar with her. She didn't expect that the few of them would think that she was close to the spirit profound realm. But they didn't expect that Ji Yu would beat them up in the blink of an eye. After being defeated again, the few of them started to doubt if they were the so-called geniuses. Seeing his child's rapid improvement, old Master Jing watched from behind the courtyard wall with great interest. Previously, he actually doubted Ji Yu. He really shouldn't have done that. A few days later, news came from the palace. Except for the Spirit Treasure Empire, the emperors of the 6 empires had all arrived at the capital city. He invited Ji Yu to enter the palace with him. At the banquet, Numinous Treasure King stood up and raised his wine cup high in the air. "Everyone, welcome to the Spirit Treasure Empire. From today onwards, the Alliance of Kings is officially established. We will destroy the so-called Southern Region Empire together." The emperors of the other empires also raised their wine cup. Since ancient times, there had only been 7 empires. In the future, there would only be 7 empires. Everyone drank a cup of wine. Suddenly, the Spirit Treasure King changed the topic and said calmly, "According to the news I received, the new king of the southern region possesses the ancient dragon vein. With the support of the dragon vein, I'm afraid that we won't be a match for him. Only by combining the dragon vein can we have a chance of winning." At this moment, the emperor of the Kanglan Empire fell silent. According to the news he received, the king of the Southern Region Empire was Ji Yu, the young genius. He started to hesitate. After seeing the emperor's hesitation, the Spirit Treasure King felt that he should show his strength to the other emperors. "Let's start with you, Lord of Kanglan." Suddenly, a long dragon appeared on his body. The golden dragon let out a furious roar and charged directly in the direction of the House of Storms. The Lord of Kanglan quickly took 2 steps back. Under the attack of the Spirit Treasure King, a black dragon was pulled out from his body. Old Master Jing stroked his beard and said, "Ji Gongzi, it's your turn now. As long as you help our king and subdue the other emperors, you won't have to worry about your official position." Ji Yu's lips curled into a smile. "Of course." Then, Ji Yu's eyes flashed and a dragon appeared behind her. However, this giant dragon was actually a multicolored giant dragon. However, this multicolored giant dragon was much smaller than the giant dragons behind all the kings present. Ji Yu said calmly, "Thank you for bringing me in, old Master Jing. You. You are the king of the southern region." As the dragon roared, the rest of the emperors turned around and looked in the direction of Ji. "King of the southern region? Why are you here?" The Spirit Treasure King was shocked. The dragon behind him loosened its mouth, and the dragon behind the Lord of Kanglan immediately ran back to the Lord of Kanglan. Ji saw that it was time. She moved and stood in front of the Lord of Kanglan. "Please hand over your dragon of destiny to me." "How dare you!" he roared. Ji grabbed his shoulder. The Lord of Kanglan wanted to stop her, but it was too late. The colorful golden dragon behind Ji swallowed the black dragon in one gulp. The Lord of Kanglan felt the world spinning around him. His body went limp and he fainted on the ground. The rest of the emperors did not dare to go near Ji. They all retreated to the back of the Lord of Kanglan. Each of them sent out their own dragon of destiny. The 6 dragons floated high above the main hall. The roof of the main hall could not withstand such a huge amount of dark force and collapsed. Ji sensed that her dragon of destiny did not have the strength to swallow the remaining dragons. She jumped onto the roof. "Let's go." Under the protection of her dragon of destiny, she flew into the sky. The Lord of Kanglan roared, "You are here and you want to leave?" Mystical technique, jewel light. A glaring light appeared in the sky. Ji turned around, mystical technique, raging flame iron fist. The 2 dazzling profound lights collided with each other. It was as if heaven and earth were shaking in that instant. However, Ji's dark force was stronger. The mystical technique pierced through the sky. The attack landed on Numinous Treasure King's body. Numinous Treasure King spat out a mouthful of blood and fell into the hall. The other emperors saw this and sent out their dragon of destiny. They took this opportunity to escape from the capital of Kanglan. As for Ji, she was long gone. Seeing that his plan had failed, the Lord of Kanglan slammed his palm on the wall. Damn it, Ji, I will kill you!" He roared at the sky. In an instant, the sky, which was originally cloudless, rumbled with thunder and lightning. After the emperors returned to their respective empires, they recalled what happened last night. Ji's strength was too terrifying. They simply could not resist. Hence, they made the decision to let the Lingbao Empire resist Ji first. Lingbao Empire, the Lord of Kanglan, decided to fight to the death with Ji. He summoned all the lords of the various cities to gather their elite troops at the border. A total of 300,000 soldiers gathered in a mighty manner. The other empires also sent out 20,000 soldiers each. However, Ji's forces in the various empires had already started to operate. They came up with all kinds of terrifying things. They were used to divert the attention of the other empires. The Lord of Kanglan was clad in armor. He led his elite troops and advanced towards the southern region. Everyone in the world was paying attention to this battle. However, everyone believed that the land of chaos was formed by the scum of the various empires. Their strength could not be too high. The Xian Pass was located at the border between the 7 empires and the land of chaos. Ji led the troops and stood at the top of the pass. When the Lord of Kanglan saw Ji, he gritted his teeth in hatred. He unsheathed the sword on his horse and swung it in the direction of Ji. "Kill!" Ji also raised her hand. Suddenly, the magical weapons beside her started to operate, followed by a loud rumbling sound. At this moment, several mystic lights shot out and exploded in the air. At this moment, countless Xian arrows shot down towards the Spiritual Treasure Empire's army, followed by countless screams of agony. "Ah! Ah! Be careful, everyone, be careful!" The Lord of Kanglan slapped his mystic beast and roared in anger. Chapter 574. Countless experts from the Lingbao Empire also fell at this moment. Only a few LV3 Tongxian realm experts managed to survive the first wave of attack. Ji stepped on the city wall. In the blink of an eye, she flew down. "Be careful, my king!" A guard shouted anxiously and rushed in front of the Lingbao king, blocking a fatal blow for him. Ji pulled back the treasure weapon from him. She waved her hand and a few people rushed forward, pressing their swords against the Lingbao king's neck. You don't think a few Tongxian realm experts can do anything to me, do you? His body quickly gathered a huge amount of dark force. Go to hell, the dragon's soul fears destruction. A golden dragon danced in the sky. The Lingbao king laughed mockingly. Kid, go to hell. Don't even think about taking the Lingbao Empire's Dragon of Fate. In the blink of an eye, the Dragon of Fate floating in the sky reached its peak and was about to reach Ji. Suddenly, Ji turned around and floated in the sky. With a wave of her hand, the seven-colored golden dragon flew into the sky. Numinous Treasure King's mouth suddenly curved into a smile. Ji, do you know why the other 6 empires only sent a small number of troops? Just as Ji was puzzled, the Lingbao king suddenly laughed. Come out. In the blink of an eye, the overlords of the 7 empires walked out, each holding their own dragon of fate. Just as Ji's dragon of fate was about to collapse, suddenly, a 7-colored holy light descended from the sky. The holy light shrouded the entire sky. Everyone present raised their heads to look at the sky, only to see a radiant and wholly peerless beauty appear in the void. 7-colored heavenly snake. It's actually the 7-colored heavenly snake. The Lingbao king shouted. The kings present naturally knew what the 7-colored heavenly snake was. It was one of the 4 elders under the ice ceiling saintess. Little 7, it's you? Everyone was speechless. What was going on? This was the saintess that even kings would have to kneel before. How could she become Shao Qi in the mouth of a little child? Wasn't this Wang Kai's other life? And from the looks of it, Ji didn't seem to have much respect for the 7-colored heavenly snake. Shut up. How can you insult the name of the 7-colored saintess like this? That's right, that's the 7-colored saintess. Everyone started cursing. The 7-colored heavenly snake was already used to Ji's habit of making friends. He just curled his lips and said, Who is little 7? You are little 7. Your whole family is little 7. Everyone's eyeballs were about to fall out of their sockets when they saw the saintess's expression. Heavens, this, how could the saintess act like a little girl? However, the 7-colored heavenly snake suddenly turned his head and scolded the kings. Presumptuous, Ji is the successor of the southern region's destined heavenly dragon. Naturally, he should unify the 7 great empires. How dare you make the people here suffer? Quickly surrender. King Lingbao felt wronged. He just wanted to complain to the saintess and hope that she would punish them. He didn't expect that the saintess would directly side with Ji. Could it be that the 2 of them? The king of puppets was the first to be dissatisfied and stood up. Saintess, since the disappearance of the saintess, you haven't come to the human world for 1,000 years, right? I wonder how much strength you have left? The king of puppets controlled the king of puppets in his hand to attack the 7-colored heavenly snake. The 7-colored heavenly snake coldly snorted and said, Insignificant skill. Suddenly, the king of puppets in the air stopped. The 7-colored heavenly snake gently waved his hand, and the king of puppets suddenly collided in another direction. A loud cracking sound was heard. The king of puppets suddenly broke into pieces. They fell to the ground one after another. Everyone was dumbfounded. The king of puppets' strength was at least equivalent to the first level of the spirit profound realm. But it was actually so easily resolved. Ji flew into the sky, and the profound force in his hand quickly gathered. The 7-colored heavenly snake said, Using this opportunity, I will help you 7 dragons return to 1. The 7-colored golden dragon seemed to have heard the 7-colored heavenly snake's words. He quickly extracted the strength from Ji's body. Ding, the host used Sky Splitter. Obtained experience points of 1 by 999. Fortunately, the system continuously transmitted experience points to Ji from afar, providing continuous output of profound force for Ji. Otherwise, he would have been completely sucked dry by the seven-colored heavenly snake. He took a deep breath. The seven-colored golden dragon hovered in the sky and roared. The other golden dragons also took this opportunity to attack the seven-colored golden dragon. In the blink of an eye, they swallowed the seven-colored golden dragon. A huge aura spread out from Jiyu's body. Jiyu's originally closed eyes suddenly widened. A never-before-seen kingly aura enveloped his body. The several sovereign kings couldn't hold on anymore and knelt down one after another. "We are willing to submit to the Southern King," Jiyu said indifferently. "From today onwards, there will no longer be 7 empires. The 7 empires' capitals will be renamed as the original 7 empires. With this as a reminder, the 7 sovereign kings will be promoted to prime minister. Everything will be decided through voting. From today onwards, all unjust and false cases in the 7 empires will be judged anew. From today onwards, the 7 empires' academies will be abolished and the profound institution will be established. All major unions will immediately withdraw all their titles and be included in the profound institution. Classes will be opened and all will be taught regardless of background. Murong Zili will be in charge of the profound institution. No one is allowed to interfere with the affairs of the profound institution." With the support of the 7-colored golden dragon, Jiyu's voice covered the 7 empires. Murong Zili's eyes were filled with tears. She thought that her choice that day was correct. All the aristocratic families came to congratulate her. The Jiang sisters were also brought to the Southern King's palace by Jiyu's people. The ice-sealing god sect will be the national religion. After everything was settled, the golden dragon returned to Jiyu's body. The 7-colored heavenly snake suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Jiyu hugged it and returned to the Southern King's palace. Jiyu poured his spiritual power into the 7-colored heavenly snake. "You're really stupid. For me, you actually used up all of your Xian energy." Jiyu suddenly grabbed the 7-colored heavenly snake's hand. This pair of beautiful hands was something that countless people yearned for but couldn't obtain. This saintess has already lost her chastity to you. Right now it's just. Jiyu laughed heartily. Right now it's just the behavior of protecting your husband. This king naturally understands. He put his hand in front of himself and said to the 7-colored heavenly snake, "I have a pill to replenish Xian energy. Take it first." However, the 7-colored heavenly snake didn't take it. Instead, her face turned red. Jiyu touched her small face. "You're actually burning up." In the eyes of Xian practitioners, this was somewhat inconceivable. Xian practitioners had long been able to escape from the torture of illness. The 7-colored heavenly snake knocked in front of Jiyu. I used up all of my Xian energy for you. This isn't the first time. But last time, I'm fine." Jiyu was confused. "When? What? What did I do to you? You're fine now?" The 7-colored heavenly snake was so angry that she pinched Jiyu. "You still have the nerve to say that. It's what you did to me the first time we met." Jiyu was even more confused. Didn't he beat up the 7-colored heavenly snake the first time they met? How could he be addicted to this beating? He wasn't a person who used domestic violence. It's the matter between a man and a woman. Jiyu immediately understood. So it turned out that he had to do this kind of thing to replenish the 7-colored heavenly snake's Xian energy? Looking at the confused expression on Jiyu's face, the 7-colored heavenly snake explained, "Last time was an accident. But this time, you have the 7-colored golden dragon's chi vein in your body. The golden dragon is my beast's ancestor. As long as I mate with you, I can replenish my Xian energy. Moreover, I can also obtain a trace of the true dragon's bloodline." So it was like that. The 7-colored heavenly snake explained. So it turned out that when she left him, she was searching everywhere for the chi vein golden dragon. She didn't expect that it was actually with Jiyu. Ji-yu lightly stroked her hair. The seven-colored heavenly snake seemed to have sensed what Ji-yu was going to do next. Her entire body trembled. Ji-yu pulled her hand over and placed it on her body. The seven-colored heavenly snake's body went limp and fell onto Ji-yu's body. Ji-yu turned around and used her Xian energy to blow out the candles on the counter. The lights suddenly went out. The next day, several palace maids carefully inquired. A little palace maid said, "I've also served many young masters from large families. I've never seen such a powerful one." "That's right. Yesterday, the saintess was tortured by my king until this morning." An inner attendant walked over. "You guys, don't you want your tongues anymore? Why are you still talking so much? Quickly go and serve the king's saintess." Ji-yu woke up in a daze. Yesterday was really too crazy. He didn't use Xian energy as support, but the Xian cultivator's body was indeed powerful. He found that his things were still on the seven-colored heavenly snake's body, so he withdrew and left. When the palace maids came in, they saw Ji-yu's perseverance and were somewhat impressed. However, it was also this small action that woke up the seven-colored heavenly snake. After the two washed up, Ji-yu said faintly, "I can sense that the remnant soul's spiritual energy has recovered a little." As the Ice Queen's most loyal subordinate, Ji-yu didn't hide anything from the seven-colored heavenly snake. When the seven-colored heavenly snake learned that her master was still alive, she was extremely excited. Then the next step is to spread the holy religion in the other three regions, the seven-colored heavenly snake suggested. Suddenly, she had an idea. She took the food from the maid's hand and tasted it. Then, she gave Ji-yu a new feeding posture. Ji-yu's hands were completely unwilling to leave the seven-colored heavenly snake. "I plan to go to the Eastern Region Dynasty alone to see the situation of the Holy Temple there. Bring Xiao Gu along." Chapter 575. Bring Xiao Gu along? Yes. The seven-colored heavenly snake leaned on Ji-yu. According to the records, Xiao Gu's family might be in the Eastern Region Empire. Ji-yu put the change of clothes into her storage ring. She rode out on her white tiger. In the blink of an eye, she left the Southern Region Empire. Everyone wanted to follow Ji-yu, but what they saw was the seven-colored heavenly snake holding Ji-yu's imperial edict, ordering them to work diligently. Apart from the Southern Region Empire, the other empires were all unified. He looked at the huge city in front of him. There were no clues about the sacred temple. Ji-yu found that the weakest cultivator in the Eastern region was at least LV5 Tongxian realm. Seeing Ji-yu walk into the city alone, a young man walked up to him. "Young master, you must be from another city." Ji-yu glanced at Xiao Gu, who was behind him. It didn't seem that hard to guess. All the students from other cities are participating in the Beichen Academy's selection test today. "I'm sure you're here too." Ji-yu smiled. "Although I don't know what the Beichen Academy is, I'm here for a vacation." "Oh." The young man was surprised. He didn't expect this kid to be here for a vacation. "Well, the Beichen Academy only accepts disciples once every 100 years. You should take advantage of this opportunity." Ji-yu smiled. "There's no need." "Young master, do you need a place to stay? Many people look forward to staying in our shop. Besides, the Parkson auction house is right next to us. You can stay there." Hearing this, Ji-yu seemed to have thought of something. Thinking of this, he took out a bag of gold coins from his storage ring and handed it to him. Looking at the gold coins in his hand, the shopkeeper was a little puzzled. "Are these the Southern Region Empire's gold coins?" "Yes. The Southern Region Empire's gold coins are very cheap here, so this bag of gold coins isn't enough." Looking at him, it was Ji-yu's turn to be surprised. The devaluation of the currency was too severe. "But if you have any valuable treasures, you can try to make a deal at the Parkson auction house." Ji-yu turned her head when she heard this. He followed the waiter to the entrance of Parkson's supermarket. A guard stepped forward. "Halt, May I ask if young master has an invitation? Ji shook her head. You don't even have an invitation, then does young master have any cultivation coins on him? Ji didn't waste any more time. Instead, she pulled out a small jade screen from her storage ring. Then, Ji threw the jade bottle over. When the guard saw the pill on the jade screen, he sucked in a cold breath. Could the medicinal pills inside be grade 4 medicinal pills? Even in the empire of the eastern region, the existence of alchemists was extremely rare, especially in the border city of Wen City. There were only a few alchemists in Wen City. The quality of this medicinal pill is really rare, but this little one's appraisal ability is limited. I don't know if I can invite this distinguished guest to follow me in. Ji followed him into the hall. An appraiser slowly walked over. Seeing that Ji was only 10 years old, he faintly said, "Didn't I tell you not to let fearless people in? Elder, this distinguished guest is a grade 4 alchemist." What? The appraiser's eyes widened. He never expected that the boy in front of him was actually a grade 4 alchemist. He took out a bottle of medicinal pills and handed it to him. Inside, he poured out a medicinal pill. He took out one of the medicinal pills. The profound light suddenly disappeared at this time. It really is a high-grade medicinal pill. It really is a high-grade medicinal pill. The appraiser said excitedly. We use cultivation coins as the price here. This grade 4 medicinal pill is worth about 50,000 cultivation coins. I don't know if this distinguished guest is satisfied. Ji nodded. I still have 2 things to sell. The appraiser said excitedly. You still have other medicinal pills. A long sword appeared in Ji's hand. The long sword's body emitted a purple profound light, and it looked incomparably sharp. This is at least a grade 4 artifact. He took a deep breath. It was actually a dual profession. This was extremely rare in the entire continent. A long sword was placed on the table. Artifact, a high-grade artifact. We set the price for this artifact at 50,000 cultivation coins. Because the rarity of artifacts was far more precious than medicinal pills, when he saw the artifact, his eyes instantly widened. He sat on the chair and faintly said, "No problem." The appraiser placed an invitation card in Ji's hand. Suddenly, his eyes turned and faintly said, "This is 100,000 cultivation coins. If this distinguished guest has anything to buy, please do not hesitate to make a move. This is our initial price for you." Ji agreed. Then, she walked into the hall. Aside from the center of the stage, there were already countless people who came to participate in the auction. Everyone had prepared enough cultivation coins, planning to auction off their treasures later. A person flew out from the center of the stage. Welcome everyone to the Parkson auction house. Through the support of profound energy, the auctioneer's words spread to every corner of the auction house. Everyone, we will officially begin the auction in a moment. Everyone, please get ready immediately. First of all, let us introduce our first auction item. It is actually a grade 4 medicinal pill. It can quickly recover one's vitality and replenish all profound energy. Moreover, it can increase one's attack power by 3 levels. The profound practitioners below the stage began to discuss. If this medicinal pill is eaten, if you meet an opponent of the same level, wouldn't you be ahead of them by 3 levels? That's right. If this were to happen in a duel, its effect would be too great. A youth stood up. Everyone, I am Lan Qing. This medicinal pill is worth 100,000 cultivation coins. I want it. What? It's actually someone from the Lan family. Their youngest genius has also reached the first level of the spirit profound realm. This is practically a pre-order for this medicinal pill. Suddenly, another voice rang out. I am Bai Wu, but I want this medicinal pill. 300,000 cultivation coins. Lan Qing looked at Bai Wu. Bai Brat, do you have to go against me? What is young Master Lan saying? This is the auction house. With your previous bid, Wouldn't the other families not dare to make a move? My Bai family is not easy to bully. After saying this, the two of them looked at each other. Jiyu watched the two families fight. She never thought that in this border city, there would actually be two youths at the first level of the spirit profound realm. And from the looks of it, they were only at the ordinary level. Xiao Gu yawned, as if these two people at the spirit profound realm were not his match. 300,000 going once, 300,000 going twice, 300,000 going thrice. Just as the deal was about to be struck, Lan Xing immediately raised his hand. 400,000. Young Master Lan, could it be that the Lan family has already declined to this extent? 800,000. Lan Xing was infuriated by Bai Wu. Just as he was about to bid, the housekeeper behind him suddenly stopped him. Young master, please calm down. Although this medicinal pill is precious, it is not worth this price. After coldly snorting, Lan Xing sat down. The auctioneer immediately shouted, "The second item, a fourth-grade artifact, the Imperial Sky Sword. I don't need to say much about its value. The starting bid is 300,000 cultivation coins." 1,000,000 cultivation coins. Lan Xing immediately shouted, completely blocking off the price. The white and blue families had spent almost 1,000,000 cultivation coins, and now their strength had reached the limit. The auctioneer quickly called out 3 bids. Immediately after, the auctioneer suddenly laughed lewdly. "The next item we are going to auction is a special item." Many of the men present started to laugh out loud. A carriage was pushed out, and the auctioneer removed the red cloth on the carriage. A delicate face appeared in front of everyone. This girl had 2 small cat ears on her head. The starting bid is 1,000,000 cultivation coins. She is just an ordinary girl. How could she be worth this price? That's right. She is just an ordinary girl. They faintly smiled and turned their heads. The auctioneer came to the front of the carriage, picked up the iron hammer in front of him, and lightly knocked on the carriage. The girl on the stage immediately let out a delicate groan. All the men present trembled slightly. Jiyu originally did not have any sympathy for this girl, but following the matter just now, Jiyu was instantly enraged. He was a person who followed his heart. He turned to look at the auctioneer following him. "How much cultivation coins do I have now?" "A total of 1,500,000 cultivation coins." Jiyu raised the auction board in his hand. 1,200,000 cultivation coins. Following Jiyu's words, everyone looked at Jiyu. A wretched man stood up and said in a heavy tone, 1,300,000. "What? A single pill is not worth this money. Although she is a beautiful girl, 1,000,000 cultivation coins is not worth it." Jiyu said indifferently, 1,400,000 cultivation coins. He turned his head, took out 3 bottles of 4th-grade pills from his storage ring, and threw them into the hands of the appraiser. "I'll sell it to you for 500,000 cultivation coins per bottle." After saying this, they immediately turned their heads. "Deal." The wretched man said to Jiyu, "Brat, let me tell you, I am the Gao family's great elder. Do you still want to fight with me?" Jiyu coldly snorted, turned his head and said indifferently, "I don't know any Gao family, this is an auction house." The young man from the Bai family looked in Jiyu's direction with interest. Jiyu said indifferently, "State your price." Chapter 576. The wretched man clenched his fist. But he was afraid of the auction house's rules and didn't dare to flare up. He turned around and snorted. The auctioneer shouted excitedly, "This cat girl belongs to VIP number 320. Immediately after, the auctioneer lowered his voice. "The last treasure, mystic skill, gloomy forest." This profound skill allows you to enter a different space, and within 5 breaths of time, you can reappear from the different space. It can give the enemy a fatal blow at any time. Everyone present sucked in a breath of cold air. The last bidder was the wretched man from just now. Gao family's mystic skill. After the auction ended, Ji was invited backstage. The auctioneer handed a small bag to Ji. This is the Xian Ming ghost bag. There are 5 million cultivation coins stored in it. In addition, this token is our Parkson Supermarket's VIP token. It can be circulated in the entire Eastern Region Empire. They cupped their hands and got up to leave one after another. Ji took the cultivation coins and returned to the hotel. He asked for a luxurious suite and paid a year's deposit. Because the Eastern Region Empire was unified, it wasn't easy for Ji to find clues. Suddenly, the shop's waiter walked in. He knocked on the door. Ji walked out and took the letter. The letter said that an old friend wanted to see Ji. Xiao Gu, you stay here and eat whatever you like. Ji left the city gate alone. He was a little puzzled. He had just arrived in the Eastern Region Empire. How could there be an acquaintance? At this moment, a wretched laughter sounded. Jie. The wretched man he met at the auction house just now walked out, waving the fan in his hand. Boy, obediently hand over the cat girl, and I can still spare your life. Ji looked at him. You think you can do that? The wretched man clapped his hands. With 2 sounds, several black-clothed men with purple eyes jumped onto the tree trunk. Kill him. Several black-clothed men suddenly stomped on the ground. Their bodies emitted a purple light. At this moment, they flew towards Ji. Their fingertips and nails were rapidly spreading. These people here are known as the 5 Wild Leopard Brothers. Every one of them is at the peak of the first level of the Spirit Profound Realm. Little brat, just obediently die. Under the support of the profound energy, their speed became abnormally fast. Ji immediately jumped up, but she didn't use any of the profound energy in her body. She just took quick steps in the air. Ding. Host has used 3000 cloud movement. Experience gained 999 times proficiency. Ding. Congratulations to host. The 3000 clouds movement has successfully broken through to the minor accomplishment stage. Ji could feel that she did not need any profound energy at all to be able to use the lightning haste. Furthermore, her speed had increased by 300%. He kept flashing in the air. The 5 Wild Leopard Brothers, who were famous for their speed in Border City, were actually no match for Ji in terms of speed. Big brother, if we continue on like this, we will definitely lose to them. We must think of a way. If that's the case, we have no choice but to use that move. Following that, the 5 brothers each stood on the positions of the 5 constellations. A wild leopard seemed to have appeared on the spot, its eyes revealing a ferocious look. Fusion Profound Skill, Raging Flame Leopard. A huge leopard appeared in the air and roared towards the sky. It looked fiercely in the direction of Ji. After roaring, it suddenly pounced towards Ji's direction. Ji reached out her hand and blocked the leopard with her arm. She quickly flung it away. The moment the leopard landed on the ground, it roared angrily at Ji again. Ji covered her body with Qi-gang. The 3000 volts lightning was suddenly activated. It was as if the entire place was filled with Ji's figure. You're courting death. Ji slowly uttered these words. The raging flame leopard suddenly twisted its body, but Ji was already in front of them and punched out heavily. Kid, you actually dare to get close to us? That's ridiculous. A ball of flames suddenly appeared in the mouth of the raging flame leopard. The flames suddenly spurted out. Ji punched out and the flames suddenly broke into pieces. They turned into flames and scattered in all directions. After being hit by Ji's punch, the 5 Wild Leopard Brothers split up and fell heavily on the ground. When the wretched man from the Gao family saw that the 5 Wild Leopard Brothers, whom he had spent a lot of money to invite, were so easily defeated by Ji, he was instantly enraged. You bunch of trash. The profound energy in his body was constantly being released, as if there was a huge bear covering his body. The huge bear hit its chest and roared angrily. 3rd level of the Spirit Profound Realm. Ji said slowly. Hearing Ji Yu's words, the man from the Gao family said coldly, "Kid, now you know how to write the word death, right? I'm not afraid to tell you that I've covered my body with the soul of a profound beast. That means that not only can I use my own profound chi, I can also superimpose the attribute of the profound beast on myself." Ji Yu covered his body with his mental energy. He could feel that there was a faint layer of profound chi on his body. He should be using most of his energy to maintain the profound beast skill. Giant bear splitting palm. Suddenly, a huge palm appeared in the air and slapped towards Ji Yu. "You've wasted too much profound chi on your profound skill. You've reached the end." Ji Yu directly poured the profound skill into his fist. Raging Flame Iron Fist. First level, second level, third level. Originally, Ji Yu's punch already had a force of 500 kilograms. However, in the next moment it was superimposed. Under the bombardment, the surrounding trees and stones were sent flying in an instant. After the power passed, Ji Yu appeared in front of the wretched man. "You!" he shouted angrily. In an instant, his fists were pounding on his body with a rumbling sound. "Haha, kid, I have to admit that you're very talented to be able to withstand my punch. However, what I like the most is to be killed by you so-called geniuses." A loud rumbling sound rang out, followed by a crisp cracking sound. At this moment, the profound chi shield suddenly cracked. After the profound chi shield was broken, Ji Yu directly arrived in front of the Gao family man and heavily punched him. The wretched man from the Gao family was hit by Ji Yu's punch. It directly penetrated his chest. He spat out a mouthful of blood. His entire body went limp and fell to the ground. Ji Yu wiped the sweat from his forehead. "You're good to be able to make me sweat." At this moment, Ji Yu also understood that the strength of the empire of the eastern region was not something that the people of the southern region could compare with. He picked up the storage ring of the Gao family man. A mystical skill appeared in the storage ring. Ji Yu picked up the book and read it. Ding! The host has read the Dark Forest and obtained the mystical skill, Dark Forest. There was a new mystical skill. He must try it out. Ji Yu leaped into the air and flew into the air. In the blink of an eye, 8 mirrors appeared in the air. Ji Yu flew into one of the mirrors. When he appeared again, he was already 800 meters away. This mystical skill was even more powerful than the 3000 volts lightning. Ding! The host has used the Dark Forest and obtained 1 by 999 experience. Ding! The host has developed the second mystical skill of Dark Forest, 10,000 miles mirror image. Ji Yu felt that he could now teleport within 10,000 meters. After putting away the storage rings of the Gao clan members, Ji Yu disappeared on the spot. When she reappeared, she was already back in the city. Only then did the Gao clan guards follow her. Not good, the Grand Elder has been killed. A young man in green walked out. Seeing that the Great Elder who supported him the most had died here, he clenched his fists and said, "Go and investigate. We must find out who killed the Great Elder of the Gao clan." Yes. The group of guards scattered in all directions. The auctioneer of the auction house pushed a carriage over. The surrounding people all locked their eyes on the cat girl. It was as if they were curious about who had bought such a stunning beauty. When the carriage stopped in front of the hotel. "I'm the third-grade auctioneer of the auction house. I'm here to give the young master's auction item to you." Ji Yu walked out. The third-grade auctioneer chuckled. "Don't worry, young master. This cat girl is still a virgin. You can enjoy her to your heart's content tonight." Ji Yu ignored him and walked to the front of the carriage. Everyone was wondering what was going to happen later. When the cat girl saw Ji Yu approaching, she curled up in fear. At this moment, Xiao Gu also walked out of the room. After seeing Xiao Gu, the cat girl felt a sense of closeness. Xiao Gu carried her up. Xiao Gu even considerately covered the cat girl with a small blanket. Ji Yu turned around and handed a bag of mystic coins to the auctioneer. He was surprised to find that the cat girl was actually at the third level of the Tongxian realm. After returning to the room, Jiyu placed a bottle of pills on the cat girl. The cat girl looked at him gratefully. How did you get caught? They had 5 spirit profound realm experts. I couldn't escape. Jiyu sighed. There must be a reason for her existence. He couldn't change this situation for the time being. He said indifferently, from now on you're free. Really? The cat girl stood up excitedly. Xiaogu walked over. Big brother is a good person. Sister, don't worry and leave. Jiyu said indifferently, let's go. Be careful in the future. When the cat girl reached the door, she suddenly turned around and knelt on the ground. I, Cat Ro, am willing to follow young master and serve young master. Jiyu persuaded her twice more. After seeing the cat girl's intelligence, he didn't reject her anymore. Chapter 577. The next morning, Jiyu slowly woke up. The cat girl walked in with a basin of hot water. When she saw that Xiaogu was sleeping soundly with Jiyu in her arms, she blushed slightly. After washing up, Xiao'er knocked on the door. Young master, there's a friend of yours downstairs who wants to meet you. Jiyu nodded and went downstairs. An elegant young master appeared in front of Jiyu. Greetings, young master. Jiyu cupped his hands. He vaguely remembered that this wasn't the person he saw at the auction that day. May I know young master's name? I'm Bai Wu. I've come to befriend young master. You're welcome. May I have a private stroll with young master? Of course. The two of them walked on the street. Bai Wu said directly, tomorrow is the day of the Mystic Hall selection. Ji Gongzi, are you interested in participating? I already have a teacher, so I'm not interested. I presume young master is in the spirit profound realm now. Don't you want to improve and become an even more powerful expert? Jiyu asked with some interest, could it be that young master is one as well? Yes. In our Eastern region empire, the spirit profound realm is merely the threshold to become a profound cultivator. Tomorrow, the Mystic Hall will be holding a selection for children under the age of 18. As long as they pass the selection, they will be able to become a member of a high-grade profound cultivator academy. This is the path of advancement that many people yearn for. Jiyu thought that the Mystic Hall might have some clues about the Ice Seal Shrine. Since she didn't have any clues now, she might as well give it a try. Alright, I'll give it a try. That's great. If we're lucky, we might even be able to be assigned to the same class. Jiyu smiled. Bai Wu cupped his hands and said to Jiyu, then I'll take my leave. The next day, all the young experts under the age of 18 in the border city gathered in front of the Mystic Hall. Several old men in long robes stood on the stone steps. Jiyu released her mental strength and realized that there were actually quite a few experts at the peak of the 5th level of the spirit profound realm present. Among the 7 great empires, only the Spirit Treasure King had such strength. The people around them sensed Jiyu's spiritual power. The experts who were in charge of suppressing the crowd all sucked in a breath of cold air. How could he possess such terrifying spiritual power? Today, we'll be selecting qualified profound practitioners to become our new generation of profound practitioner students. Our goal is to assist everyone in breaking through into the mortal profound realm. Everyone became excited when they heard about the human profound realm. This was a realm that only existed in legends. As long as he stepped into the human profound realm, he could become the overlord of a region. First, Lan Qing. Lan Qing proudly walked up to the ring and looked at Bai Wu, who was standing below the ring. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Release your profound energy. Lan Qing closed his eyes as the profound energy in his body continued to be released and the color started to change. 3rd level of the spirit profound realm. Not bad, not bad. The few elders looked at Lan Qing with satisfaction. Next, Zhang San. Peak of the common profound realm, fail. Li Si, first level of the spirit profound realm, pass. Bai Wu. Bai Wu cupped his hands towards Jiyu and jumped onto the ring. He released his profound energy, which suddenly emitted a dazzling light. Everyone at the scene covered their eyes. Fourth level of the spirit profound realm, I really didn't expect that there would be someone close to the instructor. This batch of youths is really too monstrous. In an instant, all the family's gazes locked onto Bai Wu. A few Gao family disciples saw Ji Yu and whispered into a youth's ear. That youth walked in front of Ji Yu. "Young master, this one is Gao Yuan. How may I address you?" "This one is Ji Yu. Young master, you were so impressive that day at the Parks and Grand Market." When Ji Yu heard this, she knew that this kid was from the family of that wretched man. He said indifferently, "The principle of the auction is to sell based on the bidding principle. Of course. According to my uncle's character, he didn't find trouble with young master after the auction, right? So what if he did, so what if he didn't?" Looking at Ji Yu's cold expression, he clenched his fist. He said coldly to Ji Yu in front of him, "If that's the case, I don't mind asking for an explanation from my family's elder. However, at this moment." Next, Gao Yuan. Gao Yuan snorted and walked onto the ring. The profound energy in his hand slowly spread out in the blink of an eye. The profound energy in his hand was gradually released to the maximum level. Second level of the spirit profound realm. Gao Yuan walked down the testing platform and looked in Ji Yu's direction. "Brat, remember this. We will meet again." Ji Yu didn't say anything. After waiting for a moment, the elder on the ring shouted, "Next, Ji Yu." Ji Yu walked onto the ring. The profound energy in her body was suddenly released. Everyone looked at the profound light on Ji Yu's body in surprise. Third level of the spirit profound realm. Fourth level of the spirit profound realm. Fifth level of the spirit profound realm. Sixth level of the spirit profound realm. Seventh level of the spirit profound realm. He's actually an expert at the seventh level of the spirit profound realm. This is simply too terrifying. How can there be such a talented young man? Looking at his appearance, he's not even 18 yet. The elders immediately walked into the backstage area one after another. A few people walked out in shame. "Ji Gongzi, we can't decide your rank. This is our letter. When we go to the eastern region's central capital, there's the great mystic master temple there. Only there are elders qualified to decide your rank." They handed a letter to Ji Yu. Lan Qing and Gao Yuan both tightly clenched their fists. They both decided in their hearts that this kid was truly terrifying. If he grew up in the future, it would be even more inconceivable. He was simply a living monster. Lan Cheng's words were just jealousy. At this time, Gao Yuan's killing intent was born. No matter whether this kid was the one who killed their elder or not, he must be killed as soon as possible. And the best time to kill him was when Ji Yu went to the central capital. He turned his head. He quietly left the place. Bai Wu felt happy about his decision to get close to Ji Yu. He ran in front of Ji Yu. "Ji Gongzi, our family's caravan will organize a caravan to escort me to the central capital. I wonder if you're interested in going together?" "Okay. That's great. Then we'll set off in a moment. We'll respectfully wait for Ji Gongzi at the city gate." Ji Yu returned to the inn and asked the two girls to pack up their clothes. Then, they set off in the direction of the city gate. Bai Wu welcomed them. After seeing Xiao Gu and Cat Girl, he sighed in his heart. The strong really had boundless luck with women. He turned his head and said to Ji Yu indifferently, "Ji Gongzi, I didn't expect you to have so many people. But my carriage can accommodate 3 people. This way, please." Ji Yu said indifferently, "Then thank you, young master Bai." After saying that, the caravan slowly set off. After leaving the border city, they arrived at an uninhabited area 10,000 miles away. Everyone in the caravan was at the first level of the spirit profound realm. They scanned their surroundings. In this 10,000-mile distance, the threat of Xian beasts was far less than that of humans. When they walked into a valley, Li Mu and the others walked into the valley. Suddenly, the surrounding rocks in the valley fell rapidly. The caravan's front and back were cut off. The people in the valley poked their heads out and picked up the bows and arrows beside them. One arrow after another flew in Ji Yu's direction. The people in the escort team jumped up and threw out the treasured weapons in their hands. About 100 masked men in black clothes popped their heads out one after another. "We must kill this guy." After shouting this sentence, the surrounding people jumped down one after another. Third level of the spirit profound realm. Bai Wu's head was covered in cold sweat. He stood in front of Ji Yu to protect her. He pulled out a long sword. A few men in black took the lead and rushed forward. Profound skill, burning flame ripple. Profound skill, sea dragon roar. Profound skill, giant bear slap. At this moment, 3 profound skills slammed heavily in the direction of Ji Yu. Bai Wu took a deep breath and swung his sword. The long sword on his body instantly turned into dozens of long swords floating in the air. Profound skill, meteor shower. In an instant, hundreds of long swords appeared in the air and rushed towards the men in black. These few black-clothed men had just released their profound skills. There was no way to dodge at all. But before he could dodge, those long swords fell on his body one after another. After being stabbed by the long swords, the men in black all spat out a mouthful of blood. They were constantly panting. Gao Yuan walked out and shouted, "Old ancestor, help us." After shouting this sentence, an old man floated in the air. Profound skill, beast body bending. 8 sections long sword. In the blink of an eye, 8 long giant claws appeared on the old man's body. Under the old man's mind, the 8 giant claws rushed towards Ji Yu's direction. Bai Wu had just jumped up and infused his profound qi into the long sword. Just as the long sword twisted, the 2 profound qi exploded with a bang at this moment. He flew backwards. "Don't think of harming our Bai family's distinguished guest." Ji Yu stopped him and smiled faintly. "Don't be nervous, let me do it. 7th level spirit profound realm expert. You are also at the 7th level of the spirit profound realm. No wonder Yuan wants to get rid of you. So that's why." After taking a deep breath, they took a step back and activated the profound qi in their hands in an instant. He rushed in front of Ji Yu. Ji Yu suddenly raised her hand. After a loud bang, the 2 of them retreated again. Chapter 578. Under the 2 punches, the surroundings exploded. He took a step back and took a deep breath. A powerful Xian energy vortex appeared in the surroundings. Ji Yu and the Gao family's ancestor were attracted by this powerful Xian energy. They headed straight for the center of the vortex. At the center of the vortex, Ji Yu sensed a terrifying destructive force. Sucking in a breath of cold air, Ji Yu suddenly flew up into the sky and looked at the scene in front of him. Xian skill, Raging Inferno Iron Fist. Ji Yu suddenly activated his Xian skill. Ding, host used Raging Inferno Iron Fist. Experience gained 999 times proficiency. Ding, congratulations host, Raging Inferno Iron Fist has broken through to small success realm. It seems that Raging Inferno Iron Fist is an Earth rank mid-level Xian skill, so the experience required to upgrade it is much lower than the 3000 clouds movement. Ji Yu blasted his Xian skill into the nearby valley. The powerful Xian energy bounced back and he flew backwards. He broke away from the center of the Xian energy. On the other side, the Gao family's ancestor pierced the 8 spears into the ground. He abruptly stood up and took a few steps back. A demonic red light appeared in his eyes. "Ji-brat, you're really powerful. But our Gao family has been passed down for generations. There's a secret manual. Xian skill, divine hand." A huge amount of golden light was injected into his body. At this moment, the golden light on his body grew stronger. My Xian energy has increased by 5 times. He looked fiercely in Ji Yu's direction. Ji Yu rushed forward and swung his raging inferno iron fist again. You want to fight me with just an earth-rank Xian skill? That's simply wishful thinking. When the two fists collided, Ji Yu abruptly retreated and launched another punch at him. An earth-rank Xian skill was indeed not a match for the opponent. However, Ji Yu's earth Xian skill had evolved. With the stacking of several Xian skills, it had already reached the heaven rank middle level. Under the bombardment, he suddenly retreated. However, the person in front of him was even more powerful. He crashed into the stone wall behind him. He spat out a mouthful of blood. The old man from the Gao clan clenched his fists tightly as he looked at Ji Yu in front of him. Ji Yu, how dare you? You're dead meat. The old man stepped on the ground and slowly raised the spear on his back. Then, he walked up to Ji Yu. A huge sword appeared in Ji Yu's hand, and she swung it down heavily. A loud crack was heard. The Xian beast's skill on the old man's back actually broke apart. Impossible, this old man's profound beast skill would not be at a disadvantage, even when facing an expert at the 8th level of the spirit profound realm. How is this possible? Just as he was stunned, Ji Yu had already arrived in front of him. Looking at her, the old man coldly snorted, "Brat, you're still too inexperienced to ambush me." Immediately afterward, the 8 spears on the old man's back were lifted abruptly and stabbed in Ji Yu's direction. Ji Yu smiled faintly. Xian skill, gloomy forest. Suddenly, countless large mirrors appeared in the air. The Xian beast's spear fell on the mirrors. In the blink of an eye, Ji Yu jumped into the mirrors. In just a breath's time, Ji Yu appeared in another mirror. She walked out of the mirror and swung the war hound sword down. Before the old man could react, he was stabbed in the back by the long sword. The old man's dantian was also pierced by the sword. Looking at this, the old man suddenly became old. Gao Yuan looked at his ancestor and his eyes suddenly became mournful. Ji Yu rushed forward and directly stabbed down with the sword. Ji Yu never showed mercy to people who wanted to kill him. After this sword, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Gao Yuan's dantian also burst at this time. Ji Yu withdrew her weapon. Bai Wu stood up and limped to Ji Yu's side. "Are you okay?" Ji Yu said indifferently, "I'm fine." He took out a small pill bottle from his storage ring. Then, he handed it to him. After seeing the pill, he took a deep breath. "Isn't this a 4th-grade pill?" Bai Wu didn't expect Ji Yu to be an alchemist. After swallowing a mouthful of the pill, he stood up and sent out the mystic energy in his hand. He suddenly turned his head, took a step forward, and said indifferently, "Ji Gongzi, your recovery pill is far more violent than the pills of ordinary alchemists. And I feel that my mystic energy has recovered a lot." Ji Yu said indifferently, "It's just a small pill. Young master, please don't take it to heart." The carriage smoothly arrived at the central capital. 2 people walked out from the surroundings, their eyes filled with ferocity. Regardless of whether they were bandits or thieves, after seeing Ji Yu and Bai Wu, they stretched out their hands. "Who are you people?" A person next to them said, "We're students from a border city. Here's a token." Seeing that it was a token of the Xian Hall, they directly stretched out their hands and waved. The carriage slowly came in. A magnificent hall appeared in the middle of the hall. A few old men walked out with smiles on their faces. "I wonder if you have the Xian certification." Bai Wu quickly handed over his token. Ji Yu also took out a letter. A few people came forward. Looking at the letter in Ji Yu's hand, they said indifferently, "What 7th level of the spirit profound realm? Isn't this a joke? We haven't seen such a young expert at the 7th level of the spirit profound realm in so many years. Even if you want to brag, you should have some confidence." An elder said indifferently, "What do you know?" The letter in his hand was taken out by an elder from a border city. Looking at the words of the elder in front of them, the faces of the 2 students around them turned red. Could there be some mistake in this? Hearing this, all the elders present had some doubts in their hearts. They looked at Ji in front of them. I wonder if you can use it. However, at this moment, the Xian energy in his hand suddenly surged. The aura on Ji's body suppressed the surrounding people, causing them to lower their heads. They felt the aura on his body. A few elders said at the same time, "Enough, enough. Let's do it." After saying this, they took a step back and said to Ji in front of them, "The two of you, quickly bring them to their dormitory." In front of a huge 5-story building. They looked at the huge building at the same time. This is the 8th dormitory. There are a total of 7 people living here. If the two of you know each other, why don't you stay together? Ji nodded and said to the person in front of her, "Thank you, senior." After saying this, Ji stepped into the building. The 4 people sitting inside suddenly raised their heads. There were 3 men and 1 woman in total. Ji was followed by Xiao Gu and the cat girl. The girl in the group raised her head. She smiled slightly. "It seems that our guests are not simple." "That's right. Those who can stay here are the most elite disciples. I wonder what the two of you are capable of." At this moment, the person behind them stepped forward. "I am Bai Wu, 3rd level of the Spirit Profound Realm." The Xian energy on his body suddenly lit up. "I didn't expect that there would be such a powerful genius. What about you?" Ji said indifferently. "The academy arranged for us to stay here. Naturally, there is a reason. Sorry, goodbye." He led Xiao Gu and the cat girl towards the stairs. "Third sister, this woman actually dares to not give you face." At this moment, a fatty suddenly rushed to Ji's side. He had already released all the Xian energy on his body. He was actually an expert at the 5th level of the Spirit Profound Realm. Ji suddenly raised her hand and blocked the fatty's kick. Ji turned his fist into a palm and grabbed onto his long leg. Then, he landed a heavy punch on his long leg. With a loud crack, he fell to the ground. He took a deep breath. He suddenly stood up and slowly said, "Kid, you have some skills." When the other 2 saw that the fatty was defeated, they suddenly became alert and rushed forward. After a few collisions, the long sword suddenly swung towards Ji's direction. Ji suddenly turned her body and grabbed the long sword in front of her. She twisted her hand and swung it in another direction. After a series of attacks, everyone took a step back. Ji said indifferently, "If you continue to attack, don't blame me for being impolite." At this moment, the Xian energy on his body was suddenly released. Looking at the Xian energy on Ji's body. "What? She's actually an expert at the 7th level of the Spirit Profound Realm. With this kind of strength, she could even be a teacher, right?" Everyone took a step back. "We lost." Ji turned her head. The 4 people said at the same time, "You actually won. From now on, you will be our boss here." The girl who spoke just now stood up. "I am Gu Jialuo, 4th level of the Spirit Profound Realm, 3rd grade alchemist." Looking at Gu Jialuo's proud expression, it was obvious that he valued his identity as an alchemist very much. The fatty scratched his head. "I am Chong Fu, 5th level of the Spirit Profound Realm." The other 2 looked extremely agile. "We are twin brothers. I am Ningde and he is Ningxiao. We are both at the peak of the 4th level of the Spirit Profound Realm." Bai Wu also introduced himself. Ji said indifferently, "I am 7th level of the Spirit Profound Realm, 6th grade alchemist. Greetings to everyone." What? He was actually a 6th grade alchemist? Everyone simultaneously sucked in a breath of cold air. Even Bai Wu involuntarily sucked in a deep breath of air. Chapter 579. Then Gu Jialuo said, "You all go up first." Ji glanced around. There was only one room on the 7th floor. The cat girl looked around and lifted a bed in front of Ji. The cat girl blushed, swayed her body and said, "Young master, from today onwards, this servant will live with you." Ji coughed dryly. After everyone had settled down, the school bell rang. Jiyu led the rest and walked out of the door. At this time, countless students quickly gathered in the central square of the school. The teacher stood in the middle of the stage. Originally, today should be our welcoming mode, but today, we feel that there are many demon beasts around the forest that have begun to invade us. Students, we should contribute to the central capital. Now, with the class as the unit, everyone will enter the forest to find the king of demon beasts and defeat them. Along with the teacher's words, everyone present stepped heavily on the ground. Yes. After shouting this sentence, a teacher came in front of Jiyu and others. Who is the boss of the class? Jiyu took a step forward. The teacher looked at Jiyu with satisfaction. Spirit profound realm children are all good children. This time, we are only in charge of logistics. You must be careful, don't act rashly, understand? Yes, teacher. Teacher Ai Gouda led them, opened the school, and came to the military camp located at the side of the central capital. Here, countless soldiers were drinking tea. Everyone's eyes revealed a murderous aura. Seeing the arrival of Jiyu and others, one of the soldiers glanced at them. You all have come. This time, the demon beasts have already arrived at our village outside the central capital. Many villagers have already been injured. After hearing this, several students clenched their fists. Suddenly, an angry roar came from the depths of the forest. Many screams in the surroundings were transmitted into their mouths at this moment. They abruptly turned their heads. They all rushed into the forest, and many people slowly walked out of it. The leader of the soldiers shouted, "Hurry up and bring the villagers to a safe place. The rest of you, get ready." He turned his head and saw the people from the Xian Master Academy. He frowned slightly. "Don't stay here. Go find a safe place." After roaring these words, he led the rest of the soldiers and ran into the deep forest. We can't watch them face the powerful demonic beasts alone. We have to go and help them. After hearing this, several people around also came forward and came to Jiyu. It was the leader of the soldiers. He looked at Jiyu. "Didn't I tell you to find a safe place to stay?" After hearing this, the soldiers drew their swords and took a step forward. They raised their spears and aimed at one of the holes. However, at this moment, a giant black snake suddenly rushed out. It also had a pair of huge wings on its back. Oh no, it's a flying singing snake. It's a Xian beast equivalent to a human at the 5th level of the spirit profound realm. And because it's a Xian beast, it's much stronger than Jiyu. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The flying singing snake flew forward and hit the rest of the soldiers with its tail. After being hit by the flying singing snake, they spat out a mouthful of blood and flew backward. A few of the soldiers looked in Jiyu's direction in fear. He took a step forward and said indifferently, "You go first. We'll be responsible for protecting this place." After saying this, they turned around and walked back to the flying singing snake. However, at this moment, the soldier said, "Those who invade our country will be killed, no matter how far away they are." The flying singing snake looked at them and seemed to be laughing at them. At this moment, the people around them all took a step forward. The snake spat out a mouthful of black fog. It enveloped the long snake's body. After it was enveloped by the black fog, it slowly spread out. However, in the next scene, several people fell in the black fog. The remaining soldier activated all the Xian Qi in his body. He covered his body with Xian Qi. "Come on, beast. We won't let you go." After shouting this sentence, Li Yundong shouted. The snake suddenly turned its head and flew toward Jiyu. Jiyu took a step forward and hit it with a heavy punch. A loud rumbling sound was heard. The snake fell to the ground. Gu Jialo released a huge amount of Xian Qi and shrouded Jiyu. Jiyu's Xian Qi suddenly increased by 3 times. He looked at Gu Jialua behind him in surprise. Then the fatty flew up. Xian skill, blazing light wave. After roaring out those words, an intense beam of light danced in Jiyu's direction. Jiyu suddenly jumped up into the sky. At this moment, the flames bombarded the flying crying serpent's body and engulfed its body. It fell to the ground and let out a sad cry. Ningda and Ning Xiao came forward and stabbed the long sword in their hands into the snake's body. After the snake was killed, a Xian Qi flew into the sky. There seemed to be a roar in the deep forest. A huge dragon flew out of the sky. He grabbed Ji Yu and flew in another direction at the same time. Xiao Gu glared at the giant dragon flying in the air and flew over at the same time. The cat girl activated the beast blood in her bloodline and quickly rushed over. The rest of the people followed Ji Yu's lead and ran forward. The soldier looked at Ji Yu and said, "Damn it, he is just a child." He seemed to blame himself for being incompetent, but there were so many villagers around. He couldn't help Ji Yu. Ji Yu was caught by the huge dragon and brought into the cave. The huge dragon raised its head and glared at Ji Yu. There was a trace of anger in its eyes. Ji Yu said indifferently, "Who are you? Boy, why do you have dragon breath?" Ji Yu activated the power of the dragon vein in her body. At this time, a huge dragon appeared behind Ji Yu's Qi gang and roared at the huge dragon in front of her. The power of the dragon vein? It's just one of the dragon breaths. Trash. Then the huge dragon raised its claws and slapped down heavily in Ji Yu's direction. Ji Yu's fist turned into a claw and the two palms collided heavily at this time. At this moment, the ground around them began to shake. Ji Yu said indifferently, "It seems that your dragon power is not as powerful as I thought." "How is that possible? You don't only have dragon breath. You actually absorbed the dragon of the southern region into your body. But so what?" At this time, Xiao Gu jumped forward and released the power of the Calamity Dragon. The huge dragon suddenly turned its head. Calamity Dragon of Desolation. Roar! Xiao Gu saw that the huge dragon was going to harm Ji Yu and glared at it. "I didn't expect that the Calamity Dragon of Desolation would actually follow by your side. Boy, you are really not simple." The huge dragon roared at the sky. The people who were rushing over were affected by this aura and were sent flying. They hit a tree and fainted. After the dragon roared, the sound of countless wings flapping could be heard. Rows of huge dragons floated in the sky. Every one of them looked down. "I didn't expect that the King of Dragons would appear here. Bring her back. This way we can obtain the Calamity Dragon's power." After he finished speaking, the huge dragons in the sky waved their hands. At this moment, the people in the surroundings also enveloped Xiao Gu. With a flash of light, they appeared in another place. Ji Yu saw that Xiao Gu was taken away and clenched his fist. "Xiao Gu, you actually took Xiao Gu away. No matter who you are, I will not let you go." He turned his head. At this time, the cat slaves and the rest of the people arrived in front of Ji Yu. "Where is the woman beside you?" "She was taken away by a group of golden dragons." Hearing Ji Yu's words, the people in the surroundings sucked in a cold breath. Ada Gu said, "I didn't expect that girl to be a calamity dragon. She actually has such powerful strength." Ji Yu heard Ada Da's words and asked, "You know about the calamity dragon. Do you know what that huge dragon is?" At this time, one of them slowly said, "Huge dragon? You mean the huge dragon that just took you away?" "Yes. I didn't expect that after so many years, the Azure Huge Dragon still exists in this world." "That's right. We originally thought that the Azure Huge Dragon was extinct. I didn't expect that it would appear here." They sucked in a cold breath. Ji Yu stepped forward. "Tell me, where are they?" The Azure Huge Dragon has its own dragon's protection realm. Normal people can't enter. Even so, I have to save Xiao Gu." Hearing Ji Yu's words, he suddenly clenched his fist. At this time, the teacher said indifferently, "If you really want to go, that place is Azure City. However, you can't enter." Ji Yu said, "Okay, teacher, I want to ask for leave." "What? You want to ask for leave? You've just joined the academy. Goodbye." Ji Yu cupped his fist and after saying that, he flew out of the door. He activated the 3,000 clouds displacement and the dark forest, these two powerful mystical skills. In a short 5 breaths, he was already 10,000 miles away. He held the map in the teacher's hand and quickly headed towards Azure City. Chapter 580. Azure City was known as the Holy City. After the Azure Dragon went into seclusion, the city gates were tightly shut. There were countless dragons guarding the city. It was difficult for ordinary people to even get close to this place. However, Gu was able to break through the first barrier of Azure City with the support of 2 profound skills. In the Dragon Palace, looking at Xiao Gu, who was enveloped by the dragon aura, in the center of the palace, the elder of the Azure Dragon let out a sigh. Elder, we finally managed to bring back the Calamity Skeletal Dragon with great difficulty. Why do you seem unhappy? The Azure Dragon Elder let out a sigh. Although this Calamity Skeletal Dragon is good, it only has a cultivation of 1,000 years. It's too weak. Even if we absorb its dragon soul, we won't be able to become stronger. But according to the Patriarch's words, wouldn't we become stronger after absorbing the dragon soul? That's right. Before the Patriarch entered the life and death realm, he did say that. However, he also said that there must be a prerequisite. That is, we must absorb the dragon soul of a Calamity Skeletal Dragon that has lived for more than 10,000 years before we can evolve into the Azure Gold Dragon. However, at this moment the defensive formation shifted. The Dragon Elder turned his head and looked at the formation turntable. He said, "Someone passed through the periphery of Azure City." Hearing this, the Elder let out a smile. Unexpectedly, it's been a long time since someone was able to pass through Azure City. A handsome young man with dragon scales on both sides of his face walked out. He cupped his hands towards the Elder in front of him and said indifferently, "Elder, let me deal with this uninvited guest." The Elder held the walking stick in front of him and said heavily, "All right, go." After roaring, he picked up the spear in his hand and ran out of the door. After a few leaps, he arrived at the huge city gate. A few Dragon Clan guards opened the huge gate in front of them. With a creak, the huge gate opened at this moment. He led the Dragon Clan members and rushed out of the forest in the periphery of Azure City. Gu could feel the powerful aura pressing down on her. A treasure weapon suddenly appeared in his hand. A huge sword appeared in his hand. In the next second, Yi Zichen's expression changed. The people from the dragon tribe came before Gu. One of them raised his head and said to Gu, "This is Azure City. I don't care who you are. Leave this place immediately." After shouting this sentence, the surrounding people walked out one after another. The holy land of the Dragon Clan is not to be disturbed. The corners of Gu's mouth curled into a cold smile as he looked at them. Your holy lands are not to be disturbed. What about my people? Hand them over. The young man walked out, looked at Gu and asked, "That Desolation Sky Dragon is your friend?" "Exactly. This Calamity Dragon of Desolation is already ours. Then this holy land is still ours." After hearing this, Gu suddenly turned her head and found that she was surrounded. He pulled out a long spear from his back and pointed it at Gu. "Kid, don't be so arrogant. Kill him." At this moment, the surrounding people from the Dragon Clan rushed towards Gu. At this moment, the profound energy in their bodies suddenly surged. The body of the Dragon Clan was indeed the body of the Dragon Clan. Under the support of the profound energy, they broke through to the 5th level of the Spirit Profound Realm. They burned the dragon blood in their bodies. They rushed in front of Gu. If they didn't sense that Gu was also a profound practitioner of the Spirit Profound Realm, they wouldn't even bother to use the power of the dragon blood. The power of the dragon blood gave them a strong armor. This is a defense that even a profound practitioner of the 6th level of the Spirit Profound Realm with a superior 4th-grade treasure weapon couldn't break through. "Kid, let's see how you're going to die." The few dragon knights looked at Ji with cold eyes, as if they were looking at a corpse. Ji held the war hound's great sword in his hand as he suddenly turned around, slashing down with a heavy blow. With a creak sound. At this moment, the dragon armor quickly cracked. Everyone looked towards Ji's direction. Ji suddenly turned her body and heavily chopped down with her sword. Seeing that the great sword was about to reach his head, Long Jiang quickly flew to intercept Ji's sword. He didn't expect that Ji would suddenly turn her body and use the profound skill Dark Forest. In the blink of an eye, she arrived behind one of the dragon warriors. As the sword fell, a mouthful of blood spurted out from his mouth. Blood flowed out. His body went soft and fell into a pool of blood. Looking at the blood flowing out from his opponent's body, Long Jiang clenched his fist and aimed it at Ji in front of him. He took a step forward and said to Ji indifferently, "Ji, you killed my dragon warrior. What, can't I kill him? Do you know how long it takes for a dragon warrior to take form?" The corner of Ji's mouth curled up slightly. "You asked for it." Hearing this, the dragon warrior rushed in front of Ji. Ji gradually jumped up and swung the war hound's great sword that weighed over 1,000 kilograms. A thick cloud of dust rose up from the surroundings. "What? Your sword is actually able to split the earth apart?" Long Jiang pondered. What kind of terrifying opponent did he meet? But if you want to defeat us like this, it's simply wishful thinking. Dragon spear, stab. However, right at that moment, the dragon spear suddenly thrusted out several hundred times in Ji's direction. But Ji scanned with her spiritual power and saw that Long Jiang was hiding among the hundreds of spears. Ji suddenly took a step forward and swung the war hound's great sword in her hand. As if in an instant there was a burst of light. At this moment, in the air, it was as if a golden dragon was charging in Ji's direction. The war hound's great sword in Ji's hand also turned into a giant dog. The two forces collided. Ji said indifferently, "Break for me." He roared, and at this moment, his mystic energy covered the giant dog. Long Jiang also roared, "How can the dignity of my dragon clan be lost in your hands?" At this moment, the two mystic energies collided. Following a loud sound, both of them took a step back. Ji swung her hand. 18 golden puppets suddenly appeared in the air. Kill! Long Jiang was trapped by the 18 golden puppets. Ji's spiritual power covered Long Jiang's body and sensed his weakness. Ji disappeared on the spot. "What, this move of yours, why is it so strange?" In the next second, Ji appeared in front of Long Jiang. Long Jiang's eyes widened. He was still trapped by the 18 golden puppets and couldn't dodge in time. But in the next moment, Ji turned around and slashed down with her sword. Long Jiang saw the long sword coming in front of him. "Little friend, can you stop?" A powerful aura enveloped Ji's body. Ji took a step back and waved her hand. Suddenly, the giant sword appeared in her hand. A giant figure appeared in the air. "Little friend, this is the grandson of our third elder." With the giant sword in her hand, Ji quickly stepped forward and used the 3,000 clouds movement. Ji appeared in front of the elder who spoke. "Little friend, it seems that you want to compete with this old man." As soon as he finished speaking, a powerful profound energy covered Ji's body. Ji's eyes widened. "Human profound realm." That's right. Ji gritted her teeth and swung the giant sword in her hand. Her sword slashed down and hit the chi shield. "Little friend, although you're young, you're already at the 7th level of the spirit profound realm. In this mainland you're considered to be quite talented, but, before he could finish his sentence, a cracking sound was heard from the Chi gang. "What?" The elder of the dragon clan suspected that there was something wrong with his eyes. He rubbed his eyes hard. However, in the next moment, Ji abruptly turned around and swung his sword down again. Boom! With a loud sound, the Chi shield suddenly exploded. The elder of the dragon clan thought to himself, No wonder Long Jiang wasn't Ji Yu's match. This kid's talent is so strong. Just as he was about to take the elder's dragon heart, the elder of the dragon clan stretched out his dragon claw. The two fists collided heavily. Ji Yu quickly took 2 steps back and looked at him coldly. Hand over little Gu. The elder of the dragon clan coughed and waved the walking stick in his hand. A ball of purple profound energy appeared in front of Ji Yu. Ji Yu looked at the ball of purple profound energy. Little Gu. The elder of the dragon clan said, "The desolate dragon of calamity isn't very useful to us. I can return it to you, but you have to promise us one thing. As long as you can find the golden dragon core for us, we'll return it to you." Is this what your so-called ancient dragon does? You have the right to call yourselves dragons. Kid, we've already given in. Don't push your luck. Today, you must return little Gu to me. Looking at the elder of the dragon clan, it was as if this kid wasn't afraid at all. Long Jiang didn't know why his great elder, a dignified ancient sky azure dragon of the human profound realm, would be so afraid of this brat. Ji Yu's profound energy was not as good as his. But if he used all the methods he had, he might be able to kill this elder of the dragon clan. The storage ring in his hand suddenly shone brightly. The elder of the dragon clan said indifferently, "Young friend, I'll return the person to you. I wonder if you can become friends with our clan." It did not know why, but it felt an unprecedented threat from Ji Yu. If they attacked, killing Ji Yu shouldn't be a problem. But Ji Yu should be able to bring them a huge disaster. Chapter 581. Friend. Ji Yu couldn't figure out what this old dragon brat was planning. "Young master, we captured the Calamity Dragon because we wanted to use the true dragon aura in her body to complete our ancient sky azure dragon. But, from the beginning to the end, we didn't intend to consume or harm your friends." Ji Yu smiled. "Here are some gifts, please accept them." With that, Ji Yu tossed a pill bottle into his hand. The dragon elder opened the jade screen, and a strange fragrance wafted out. "This item is called Dragon Flame, one of the white herbs. If you consume it, it will be very beneficial to your dragon race." "Thank you, young master." "Young master, we really didn't mean to harm your friend. Watch and see if you don't believe me." With that, the dragon tribe elder tapped his walking stick, and the purple aura on Xiao Gu's body also dissipated at this moment. However, Ji Yu realized that Xiao Gu's dragon aura was much stronger. "Didn't you say you wanted to absorb Xiao Gu's dragon aura? Why is this happening?" Ji Yu pulled Xiao Gu behind him anxiously. "Young friend, don't be nervous. We just want to absorb her dragon aura. We won't let her suffer any harm." Ji Yu cupped his hands. "Alright, I promise you. If I can find the golden dragon pill, I will get it back. If you can get the golden dragon pill back, the ancient sky azure dragon will be your friend in the future." Suddenly, the dragon elder started coughing. Long Jiang anxiously stepped forward. "Great elder, what's wrong?" Ji Yu said calmly, "Is this an internal injury?" "That's right. Young friend, you have good eyes." Ji Yu said calmly, "If your internal injury isn't treated, I'm afraid it will be in a few years. Sigh, our ancient sky azure dragon clan was born with a missing dragon tendon. That's why we can't wait to find the golden dragon pill. 100 years ago, the humans surrounded us layer by layer, wanting to refine us into Xian beasts. If we hadn't sealed the city gates in time and activated the protective mountain array, we would have been extinct. However, when I was fighting against the 3 mystic kings of the Mystic Hall, I also—" "You too." He sighed. Ji Yu cupped his hands and said, "Perhaps I have a way to heal elders' injuries." "What?" "What?" When the two of them heard this, they both looked at Ji Yu. Long Jiang opened his mouth and said, Little brother, are you serious?" He frowned, and there was a hint of expectation in his eyes. Ji Yu said lightly, "Of course I'm serious." When they heard Ji Yu's words, They all became excited and looked in Ji-Yu's direction. Ji-Yu only turned his head and jumped a few steps, arriving on the platform. He reached out and tapped the other party's body. The dragon blood in the other party's acupuncture points suddenly stopped flowing. However, the dragon blood was too strong. At this moment, the surrounding dragon blood rushed into every part of the body. The power of the dragon body was simply too strong. Ji-Yu's acupoint sealing had no effect on him. Ji-Yu suddenly retracted his hand. I didn't expect the dragon body to be so strong. Ji-Yu raised his head and saw a burst of frost xian energy suddenly flying into the sky. The two people around him walked forward. Ji-Yu said, "Where is that?" "That's our Azure Sky City's extreme cold spring. However, this extreme cold spring is our Azure Sky Ancient Dragon's spring water. But for some reason, no matter what we do, we can't move it away." Ji-Yu said lightly, "Clan leader, I wonder if you can let me take a look over there." "Of course, you can." He ordered the two dragon warriors to bring Ji-Yu to the ice spring. Just as they approached the ice spring, a bone-chilling cold gradually approached Ji-Yu. Ji-Yu took a step back. At this moment, the two palms in his hands were raised. It was at this moment that a blazing fire enveloped Ji-Yu's palms. Only then did the bone-piercing cold subside. He looked at the two dragon warriors beside him. Even they were suppressed by the bone-piercing coldness of the true dragon bloodline in their bodies. Ji-Yu sat cross-legged beside the ice spring. His hands turned into fiery palms and covered their bodies. After being covered by his fiery palms, droplets of water dripped down. The two dragon warriors of the dragon clan were finally able to breathe. He took a deep breath and said faintly, "Young master, I wonder if we can take our leave first?" Ji-Yu nodded and the two dragon warriors slowly got up to leave. Feeling the bone-chilling ice spring in the lake, he used his dark force to guide the cold air to gather in his hands. His dark force was spinning rapidly. He swung his hands and flung the cold air into the air. As the cold air entered his body, Ji-Yu felt the dark force in his body increase greatly. After a moment, Ji-Yu stood up. He gently touched the flowers around the lake. Ding, the host has touched the heavenly spirit treasure, flourishing flower. Ding, the host has obtained the knowledge of 100 herbs. Flourishing flower was a great tonic for the body of the dragon clan, and with the help of the elixir refined from this flower, it could increase the purity of one's dark force. A lot of knowledge flowed into Ji-Yu's mind. At this time, he looked around. He never expected that the surroundings were filled with heavenly spirit treasures and that he was in an excellent position. In addition, these heavenly spirit treasures were protected by ice, so even the Dragon Clan warriors couldn't get close. That was why these heavenly spirit treasures were protected. He said indifferently, "These herbs have been ruined by you old fogies." After saying this, Ji-Yu waved his hand and gathered all the herbs in the surroundings into Ji-Yu's storage ring. Then he patted his chest. "This is just right." Thinking of this, Ji-Yu quickly twisted his body and disappeared in the blink of an eye. In the next moment, he appeared in the Azure Sky City's temple. With this skill of coming and going without a trace, even the human profound realm expert, the Dragon Clan leader, couldn't sense what was happening to Ji-Yu. And they couldn't sense the dark force on Ji-Yu. Ji-Yu said slowly, "Great Elder, I wonder if you're willing to come with me?" Hearing this, the Great Elder of the Dragon Clan looked at Ji-Yu in confusion. "Where are we going?" "To a good place." Ji-Yu's lips curled into a faint smile. Chapter 582. Extreme Frost Ice Spring. The moment Ji-Yu said that, the surrounding dragon generals started to get nervous. "Brat, are you trying to kill our clan's elder?" "That's right. You want to bring Elder to such a dangerous place." "Elder, we are willing to fight him to the death. We have no regrets." Ji-Yu frowned. "No wonder your ancient Sky Azure Dragon Clan can't grow up. Your fertility is already bad, but you still like to fight and kill. You. Every dragon general wanted nothing more than to tear Jiyu to shreds. Jiyu said indifferently, "If I kill your great elder with the strength of your remaining people, can I still walk out?" Hearing those words, the crowd glanced at each other. It seemed that what Jiyu said made a lot of sense, but they didn't know that if Jiyu wanted to leave, even if all of them attacked together, they wouldn't be a match for Jiyu. Jiyu said indifferently, "Then come with me." Jiyu led the great elder to the side of the ice spring and sat down. Then, he waved his hand gently. A ball of purple flames appeared in his hand. "What? You have a special flame on you?" "Special flame?" Jiyu asked indifferently. The elder said, "There is a special flame in heaven and earth. It is born in response to the heavens. For this special flame to be born, it needs thousands of years to be formed from the essence of heaven and earth. I didn't expect it to fall into the hands of a fated person like you." Jiyu nodded. He waved the special flame in his hand, and an exquisite pill furnace appeared in the air. Looking at the pill furnace in front of him, the elder of the dragon tribe couldn't help but take a deep breath. "You are actually an alchemist. This is unbelievable." Jiyu didn't care about the surprised old man. He sat cross-legged on the ground and gathered the dark force in his body quickly. And it enveloped the pill furnace. After the pill furnace was enveloped by the flame, in just a moment, a pill flew into the sky. A 5th-grade medicinal pill. "Oh my God, it's actually a 5th-grade medicinal pill!" After shouting out these words, Li Yundong was stunned. Jiyu stretched out her hand and pointed. A huge amount of energy was released at this moment, suppressing the pill. The pill was planning to leave, but it didn't expect to be suppressed by this enormous profound energy. It fell into Jiyu's hand. Jiyu raised her hand and handed it to the dragon elder. Looking at the pill in his hand, the dragon elder's body began to tremble violently. Who would have thought that they would be able to obtain such a powerful medicinal pill today? Even the royal family of the empire would not be able to obtain a 5th-grade pill so easily. As long as you consume this pill, your old wounds will be completely healed. However, this treatment will still take some time. Hearing Jiyu's words, the Dragon Clan patriarch also cupped his hands and bowed to Jiyu. "There's no need to bring back the golden dragon pill. From today onwards, Ji Gongzi will be our distinguished guest." Jiyu said indifferently, "You're too kind, patriarch." 3 months later, Jiyu jumped out of the ice spring. Among the spirit herbs here, he found a stalk of 100 ice grass. After consuming it, the user would not be afraid of ice water. It was also because of this that he entered the ice spring and cultivated Heaven Splitter in the water. The system's experience points also increased at a terrifying rate. When he reappeared, he was already close to the peak of the 9th level of the Spirit Profound Realm. He was only 1 step away from the Human Profound Realm. What a heaven-defying cultivation! Seeing how Jiyu had improved to such a level in just 3 months, the Dragon Clan patriarch couldn't help but sigh. Even the elders of the Dragon Clan couldn't help but sigh. If he was given more time, they didn't know how much he could grow. "Ji Gongzi, I feel that my wounds have healed. Why don't we go back first?" Jiyu nodded. The Dragon Clan patriarch brought Jiyu back to the outside of the sacred palace. However, at this moment a few dragon warriors flew out. The terrifying dragon scale armor couldn't protect this group of fire-breathing giant dragons. "How dare you be so presumptuous in my sacred palace?" The 2 of them anxiously walked into the sacred palace. At this moment, Xiao Gu was leading the dragon generals of the sacred palace to fight against the brown-robed people. One of them was the first to speak. "Calamity Desolation Dragon, surrender obediently." "I don't want to." "You want to capture our guest in our sacred palace? Aren't you being too arrogant?" A group of ancient azure dragons stood in front of Xiao Gu. The few giant dragons floating in the air laughed loudly. "You don't even have the strength of a human at the 6th level of the Spirit Profound Realm, and you want to stop us?" That's wishful thinking. They came directly. In the blink of an eye, the few people beside them suddenly came down and blocked Xiao Gu's path. However, in the next second, Ji Yu's Xian energy covered his body. In the blink of an eye, Ji Yu suddenly flew forward. He sent out the flying sword in his hand. The two brown-robed people were killed by Ji Yu's war-hound greatsword in one move. Ji Yu stepped on the ground. He suddenly raised his head and said indifferently, "Touch Xiao Gu, touch my friends and die." One of the brown-robed people suddenly raised his head. "Since when is it your turn to interfere in our ancient azure dragon's matters?" After saying this, they abruptly took a step back. Ji Yu looked at that person. "I can't interfere in your ancient azure dragon's matters, but if you want to capture my people, you have to ask me first." "Brat, don't be so arrogant. Today, my dragon clan's second elder will deal with you." A terrifying Xian energy exploded from his body. Another mortal profound realm expert. In this sacred ground, was there such an expert who didn't appear? He stopped in his tracks. Ji Yu pulled out his greatsword, and the war-hound greatsword in front of him was instantly covered in a green color. He swung it heavily. Ding! The host used the roaring flame saber technique. Obtained 999 times experience. It was accompanied by countless flames. The Dragon Clan's second elder let out a disdainful laugh. "You want to hurt this lord with mere flames? That's wishful thinking." In the next moment, the flames directly pounced on the second elder, but his face was filled with disdain. Suddenly, countless mirrors appeared in front of the second elder. "Brat, what other tricks are you planning to play?" The speed of the mirror increased. Suddenly, a cold hand slapped the second elder's body. After 3 months of cultivation, Ji Yu had already absorbed quite a bit of the ice spring's power. The second elder could feel a wave of icy power rapidly spreading from his shoulder to his heart. Chapter 583. Why is this feeling so similar to the extreme chill ice spring? Second elder shuddered. He immediately ignited his true dragon blood. Originally, the ancient Tianqing dragon did not have much true dragon blood. Now that he had ignited it, it was even less. Dragon blood and true dragon blood were very different. One was the blood in his body. The other was the true dragon blood of the tribe. He let out a roar. There was a burst of explosion around him. All the places in the dark forest of the season gloom began to shatter. He suddenly retreated a few hundred meters away. He floated high in the sky. Frowning, he looked forward. Ji Yu said calmly, "Is that all?" Second elder watched as Ji Yu approached. He compressed the dark force in his hand into a fireball and threw it out. Ji Yu's figure turned into a phantom. She kept flashing forward. In the blink of an eye, she was already in front of him. Ji Yu reached out her hand, and a strong pressure of ice came over. That person looked at the approaching cold air, and quickly flew backwards. Second elder sucked in a deep breath of cold air. Looking at the people in front of him, he could not help but feel a chill in his heart. He looked forward. "As long as I don't let this brat near my body, wouldn't it be fine?" Ji Yu seemed to have seen through his thoughts. Suddenly, Ji Yu remembered a place in her body. He closed his eyes and stood up. He activated the dark force in his body and guided the poison out. He abruptly opened his eyes wide and pointed his hands in front of him. A gust of green gas surged towards the second elder. He raised his hand in an attempt to block his nose. Unexpectedly, the poison on his body also covered the second elder's body at this moment. "I am the ancient Tianqing dragon. Why would I be afraid of a little poison from the human race?" The corners of Ji Yu's mouth curled up into a smile after hearing this. Second elder laughed. "It's time to end this ridiculous farce." Beast mystic skill, dragon wave. A ball of red flame quickly gathered in his mouth. Raging flames also appeared in the next moment. It flew out and headed straight for Ji Yu. Ji Yu merely raised her sword to block, and the raging flames were dispersed. His heart was burning with rage as he looked in Ji-Yu's direction. I didn't expect that you would be able to block the dragon breath flame. But you won't be so lucky next time. As his voice fell, he immediately mobilized the profound energy in his body. Just as he was about to activate it, he suddenly felt an intense pain in his chest. The second elder clutched at his chest. A mouthful of blood flowed out. Suddenly, several swords pressed down on their bodies, but they remained motionless. The dragon warrior controlled the battlefield very quickly. The great elder had never thought that the battle would end before he even made a move. Bring them up. Those few people were pushed up by the other ancient azure dragons. The leader, the second elder, also abruptly raised his head. A red iron arrow flew out from behind him. Facing it head-on, the second elder simply stretched out his hand and controlled the arrow in front of him. How is this possible? Weren't you injured? How can you be so powerful? The great elder laughed. If you had come earlier, then I might have been injured by you. But now my injuries are mostly healed. Hearing the great elder's words, he couldn't help but smile slightly. This is all thanks to our esteemed guest. It's you, brat. The great elder slapped the table. Why are you rebelling? You've been sitting in this position for so long as we share the calamity dragon, we can strengthen the flesh in our bodies. He said disdainfully in his heart. The great elder became angrier the more he heard and took a step forward. Opening his bloody mouth, he swallowed the second elder in front of him. Ji-Yu never thought that there would be such a thing in the dragon clan. He stood up and said faintly, "This one has disturbed you for many days, but in fact there is one more thing I would like to ask you." The great elder looked at the brat. Usually, it was only him who helped the ancient azure dragon bloodline, but he never expected that the tables would turn today. Right now, the ancient azure dragon bloodline owed Ji-Yu too much. If there was a chance to repay it, it would be good. Let's hear it. Do you know of the Ice Sealing Temple? Hearing the words Ice Seal Temple, all of the ancient azure dragons froze on the spot. Where did you hear about the Ice Sealing Temple? The Ice Sealing Temple has disappeared from the continent for thousands of years. To tell you the truth, this one received the mandate of heaven and helped the southern region unify the Temple dynasty. Now I want to find the whereabouts of the Ice Sealing Temple. This brat is really not an ordinary person. The great elder thought to himself. At the same time, he raised his head and said faintly, "Young friend, we have already gone into hiding 100 years ago. I heard that the descendants of the temple appeared in the north, but this is the middle capital." Ji-Yu nodded and cupped his hands. "Thank you, great elder. Compared to the help you've brought, this is like comparing a great witch to a great witch." Ji-Yu said faintly. "Then Xiao Gu and I will not disturb you any further. We will take our leave first." After saying that, he said, "Then I will take care of Ji Gongzi." Ji-Yu brought Xiao Gu back to the carriage. The moment they got on, Xiao Gu pounced on Ji-Yu and kept twisting his waist. Ji-Yu swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Big Brother has not massaged Xiao Gu for a long time. Ji-Yu said faintly, "Xiao Gu misses Big Brother." "Yes." After saying that, Xiao Gu pulled Ji-Yu's hand and put it under the thin muslin cloth. It seemed that the power of the Dragon Clan did not just change Xiao Gu's mystic energy. If Xiao Gu was said to be a tender flower in the past, the flower had slowly bloomed now. The flames on Ji-Yu's body grew stronger and stronger. He hugged Xiao Gu with one hand and joined in the massage with the other. The carriage had just returned to the middle capital. The guard outside the door directly came in front of the group and stretched out his hand. "Halt! Show your permission to enter the city." Ji-Yu took out a small scroll from her body. "I am a high-ranking student of the Mystic Hall. May I know if I can enter?" The guard looked at it. At the same time, a crisp fragrance entered his nose. However, when he saw the fairy-like beauty in the carriage, he immediately understood. All right. Go in. He looked at Ji Yu with a mischievous smile. Ji Yu urged the carriage to enter the city. Xiao Gu had not been nourished for a long time. He jumped off the carriage, pulled Xiao Gu, and rushed into the restaurant to eat heartily. In the face of delicious food, Ji Yu threw away all of her pride and dignity. After burping, Ji Yu wiped his hands and patted Xiao Gu, who was still fighting, on the head. He immediately lifted it up. "Don't eat any more. Let's go." However, at this moment, countless voices of discussion came from the table next to them. A drunk man said, "There are actually so many young talents participating in this year's Eastern Region Empire Elite Company Assembly." "That's right. I heard that what's even more exciting is that there are many beautiful students participating as well." After hearing this, Ji Yu directly walked up the stairs. He sat in front of the table. A few people walked out and looked in Ji Yu's direction. "Isn't this our boss?" "Boss, we're over here." Chang Yuan and the others waved their hands. Ji Yu walked over with Xiao Gu. When the cat girl saw Ji Yu, she seemed to have gone crazy and directly pounced on Ji Yu. Xiao Gu tilted her head curiously. "Brother, does Sister Cat Girl also need your help to massage her?" Although Ji Yu had a strong temperament, this body was still that of a youth. Suddenly, a faint blush appeared on her face. Everyone looked over suspiciously. Ji Yu stared at them. From the looks of it, they were still planning to make fun of her. Ji Yu clenched her fist. "The few of you look like you haven't exercised for a long time. I heard that the martial arts assembly will be held soon. How's your training?" They looked at each other. "Boss, please follow us back to the dormitory. Maybe we're qualified to be the boss now." Ji Yu brought Xiao Gu and followed them back to the academy dormitory. Chang Yuan walked out first. He took a step forward. Instantly, the profound energy in his body surged. It was as if 3 halos of light covered his body at this moment. The others also activated their profound energy at the same time. Not bad. Chang Yuan is at the beginning of the 6th level of the Spirit Profound Realm. The others are at the peak of the 5th level of the Spirit Profound Realm. They all rubbed their noses, as if they were very satisfied with Ji Yu's improvement. "Boss, where did your current strength go?" After hearing this, Ji Yu took a step forward. However, at this moment, the profound energy in her body suddenly lit up. The light was so dazzling that they couldn't even open their eyes. Peak of the 9th level of the Spirit Profound Realm. "Oh my god, boss, are you a monster or something? I think this world is too crazy." Gu Jialua looked at Ji Yu, who was illuminated by the profound light, and his face suddenly turned red. "Brother Ji Yu is so handsome." The cat girl looked at Gu Jialua in confusion. At night, Xiao Gu directly placed his leg on Ji Yu's body and fell into a deep sleep. Ji Yu had just fallen asleep for a moment when suddenly, something seemed to be scratching him. It made Ji Yu feel a little itchy. He turned his head and slightly opened his eyes. He only saw the cat girl's hand gently caressing him. Chapter 584. She saw that Ji Yu suddenly opened his eyes and was looking at her. The cat girl's purple eyes trembled slightly. At this moment, her body began to tremble, and her face turned slightly red. Looking at her cute expression, Ji Yu reached out his hand and stroked her little head. Xiao Gu was in a deep sleep when she suddenly felt that someone had walked into her territory. She opened her eyes and saw that it was the cat girl. Then she turned around and hugged Ji Yu's half-body. Pulled by Ji Yu, the cat girl also came to his side. "If you are cold, sleep here." The cat girl nodded and curled up her body, lying on Ji Yu's body. The night passed peacefully like this. Early the next morning, Chang Yuan and the others rushed in. Boss, get up quickly. The Academy Elite competition is about to begin." Chang Yuan ran in and saw that the 2 people who were still sleeping soundly on the bed were lying on top of Ji Yu's body. Ji Yu's face turned red at this moment. Then he turned around. Only then did the 3 people wake up. Ji Yu said indifferently, Then if everyone is ready, let's set off. Hearing Ji Yu's words, he led the others to the square in the middle of the academy. Many people from other academies in the central capital came one after another. Ji Yu and the others heard that the people nearby were discussing something. It is said that the best students in the entire empire of the eastern region are all gathered in the central capital academy of Mystic. How can the students trained in other places compare with them? You don't know about this. In the empire of the eastern region, there are many forces hidden in various places. They all train their own students. At this moment, the person next to him slowly said, "That's right. And I heard that the final battle is also the qualification to enter the tomb of the god of sin. Only by obtaining the inheritance in the tomb of the god of sin can one become an expert of the human profound realm." Just as everyone was talking animatedly, all of a sudden, a strong gust of wind blew in the sky. Ji Yu turned around and saw that there was a colorful light in the sky. 7 colored lights shrouded the 5 empty areas in the square. Then, 6 white horses pulled a huge carriage and slowly descended from the sky. 6 extremely beautiful women walked down from the carriage. They covered their faces and bowed slightly to the audience below the stage. Ji Yu said faintly, "What a showy thing." The 3 brothers, Chang Yuan, De Ning and Xiao Ning, were almost drooling. "Our good brother, you already have so many beauties by your side. This time, don't fight with us. Hee, you want to sully the 6 sisters of the Su clan with just the few of you? You're simply delusional." Chang Yuan clenched his fists and looked at the symbol on his body that represented a mystic cultivator. That person was shocked and said with a cheeky smile, "Boss, I was wrong. Ji Yu smiled faintly and said to the person in front of her, "Tell me about the 6 Su sisters." "They are the people from the God Wind Academy. It is said that the 6 fairies of the Su clan, not only are they beautiful, but they also possess powerful profound strength." Just as that person was introducing them, suddenly, a group of men riding a huge elephant with a long trunk came in. "What, this is a 4th grade profound beast. They actually use 4th grade profound beasts as mounts." Everyone looked and said lightly, "Giant Beast Academy, it's the people from the Giant Beast Academy." They directly looked up. They only saw that those people from the Giant Beast Academy were looking at the God Wind Academy and whistling. However, before everyone could finish looking, suddenly 6 black rays of light passed through their bodies and drifted to the side of the giant beast. The giant beast immediately let out a dissatisfied roar. When the light fell, a person wearing a purple robe said lightly, "The Giant Beast Academy is only SOSO." The leader of the Giant Beast Academy coldly snorted, "Agility-type people dare to be so arrogant, we will fight in the arena." Haha, the 3 great academies are really the 3 great academies. However, at this time, several people surrounded by a group of black-robed people came out. Mystic Academy. Ji Yu turned her head. "What is the Mystic Academy?" Hearing Ji Yu's words, Chang Yuan looked at the group of people with incomparable envy and slowly said, "That is the place we want to go the most after graduation. The Mystic Academy is a force that every profound cultivator wants to join." However, at this time, a group of profound cultivators wearing golden armor came out on horses. "This is the Royal Guards." Everyone automatically stepped back and opened up a path for him. Only the people from the Mystic Master Temple did not move at all. "Don't you see where this is? We are the Royal Guards. I will give you a chance to get lost." A blond man with blue eyes appeared and said lightly, "Aren't these people from the Mystic Academy? So it's His Highness the 5th Prince." A golden armored guard next to him said, "Since you know it's His Highness the 5th Prince, why don't you get lost?" The people from the Mystic Academy raised their heads arrogantly. He did not pay any attention to the 5th Prince. Seeing this scene, everyone clenched their fists tightly. Just as they were about to make a move, the 5th Prince said, "Forget it, let's turn." "But Your Highness, listen to me." At this time, the carriage turned and Ji Yu said indifferently, The Mystic Academy actually dares to challenge the royal family. Chang Yuan said, "The Mystic Academy has always been outside of the royal family. So even the royal family can't do anything to them." However, the Eastern Region Empire has been pressured by the Western Region Empire all these years, so the royal family wants to take back all the power of the Mystic Academy. So that's how it is. After Ji heard this, he turned his head. At this time, the Middle Capital sect leader of the Mystic Academy, under the protection of a group of elders, walked onto the arena. He said loudly, "In order to keep our Eastern Region Empire incomparably young, we and the royal family of the Eastern Region Empire hold an elite competition every 30 years to select the most outstanding talents for the empire." Ji cupped her hands at this time. At the next moment, everyone from the Eastern Region Empire, for this selection competition, we have also invited people from the 5 major academies to participate in this competition. After he finished speaking, sect leader Gu Chang said faintly, "This time, the competition will be divided into 108 groups, and the selection will be held in the form of teams." Ji nodded in satisfaction. He slowly stood up and calmly said, "The battle has begun." Chapter 585. Ji was just about to go up. Chang Yuan pulled Ji's hand. Shaking his head, "In the academy battle, with your current strength, you are our big trump card, so you stand behind us, don't make a move until the most critical moment." Ji asked with interest, "Why?" "Only in this way you can play a role, others will not dare to directly use their strength." "Good." Ji agreed. The first group battle. It was the God Wind Academy, facing the East Region Empire's West City Academy. The 6 sisters of the Su family went to the ring, and the people of the West City Academy swallowed a mouthful of saliva. A bald man came out and patted his chest. He looked at the 6 sisters of the Su family in front of him. If he could get all of them on his bed, holding each other's hands and calling him husband, it would be a very pleasant thing. The key was that they were sisters. "Later, the brothers can help me." "Big brother, what kind of help do you want?" The bald man laughed. "Later, we will fight in close combat, the big guys will take the opportunity to take advantage, and then I will be the savior, won't they be grateful?" "Boss is really smart." "Yes, boss is boss." The bald man's students, one after another, raised the treasures in their hands, showing their unanimous support for him. The bald man looked at the people of the God Wind Academy. "Girls, I am de Moo, sorry to offend you." "Humph, smooth talker." Looking at the arrogant appearance of the 6 sisters of the Su family, de Moo became more excited. He waved his hand. The junior brothers behind him came forward together. A trace of lewd smile appeared on their faces. The first battle officially begins. Profound skill, big wood iron hammer. The several people behind him rushed to the front of the 6 sisters of the Su family in a flash. Coincidentally, they raised the iron hammer in their hands, and in the next second, they hammered down with their iron fists at the same time. The 6th sister of the Su family said, "Sisters, let me deal with this waste." After saying this, the 6th sister of the Su family flew forward in the blink of an eye, and instantly raised her hand. A mysterious light condensed in the hands of the 6th sister of the Su family. Descent of the Holy Light. Suddenly, a blinding white light appeared in the air, enveloping everyone present. After de Moo and the others were enveloped by this white light, they were unable to move. In the next second, Su Lumei raised the long sword in her hand and swung it down heavily. The long sword pierced her chest. "Wait!" The people from the Mystic Master Temple roared. "Don't hurt my order!" In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. In the next moment, he appeared in front of the Saintess, grabbed the swords in their hands, and threw them in another direction. The long sword stabbed into the ground. Their jaws dropped in shock. What the hell is going on? Human Profound Realm expert. He turned his head and said, "It's all over." The winner is the God Wind Academy, and I will reiterate the rules once again. We are not allowed to kill anyone in our battle. After he finished speaking, the human profound realm expert returned to the scene. The battle of the God Wind Academy was neat and tidy. Immediately after, the Giant Beast Academy also walked to the ring and patted their chests. Several people walked to the ring and proudly said, "We are from the Strength Academy, pure body cultivators." The leader of the Giant Beast Academy laughed out loud. "It's just a group of guys who can't cultivate Xian's strength." The battle officially begins. The two sides took a stance. The students of the Giant Beast Academy stepped on the ground one after another, and their Xian strength burst out in an instant. However, in the next moment, behind them, a group of Xian beasts appeared. Beast Body Xian Skill. A teenager was the first to speak, and then he immediately flung his robe, and in the blink of an eye, he had already run 10 meters away. So fast. Everyone in the audience gasped in admiration at the same time. The teenager jumped up and kicked in the direction of one of the students of the Giant Beast Academy. "It's no use, I killed a 1,000-year-old long-armed giant ape, and with my current defensive ability, even if you use a Xian crossbow, there is no way to penetrate it." The teenager's foot kicked him, and suddenly his eyes widened, and he took 2 steps back. His whole body shook violently for a moment. He jumped to the ground and used both hands to support himself. At this time, the 2 people behind him also approached the teenager's body. His hands quickly rotated, and the 2 people flew out with a kick. What, from the beginning to the end, there was no trace of Xian's strength on this teenager. It is said that the people of the Strength Academy were all people without Xian's strength who entered to cultivate, but their founder also used this method to become a peak expert in the Eastern Region Empire. So that's how it is, no wonder that teenager is so powerful. The leader of the Giant Beast Academy was angry. He had painstakingly cultivated Xian's strength, but now he was inferior to an ordinary person. He stepped forward, and the Xian strength on his body suddenly burst out. His Xian strength flew into the sky, and turned into a huge firebird. He pointed his finger forward. The firebird suddenly chirped and flew forward. In an instant, flames ignited the whole ground. The flames directly rushed to the opponent's body. "Go to hell, this continent belongs to the Xian cultivators." The flames burned on the teenager's body, and his teammates immediately stepped forward to help him extinguish the flames. They discussed with each other. "Let's not wait anymore, let's do it together." The leader of the Strength Academy nodded. "Then let's do it together." They clenched their fists. "Go!" After shouting this sentence, the people beside them rushed forward at the same time. Everyone used the hardest part of their body to attack the direction of the firebird. After a bombardment, the firebird flew back. The firebird flew backward in an instant. One of them shouted, "Go!" After shouting this sentence, they rushed forward together, and at this time, their fists collided with each other. 3 people from the Giant Beast Academy had already been kicked out of the arena. Now there were only 3 people left in the arena. They looked at each other. "Use that move." The people from the Giant Beast Academy never thought that in the next moment, they would all take a step forward. At this moment, 3 powerful profound energies were also rapidly gathering together. A lion slowly walked out from the flames. It raised its head and looked in the direction of the Strength Academy. Chapter 586. Mystic Skill, Fusion Beast Body, Blazing Waves. After roaring out these words, the firebird in the air spat out a ball of intense flames. In an instant, the flames shot out. The 2 students from the School of Strength took a step back. The firebird quickly took advantage of this opportunity to fly to the 2 people's side. The heat of the flames sent the 2 people flying. The 2 of them also landed below the arena. There were only 3 people left on both sides. At this moment, the 2 people rushed forward together. The firebird continuously flapped its wings. It flapped its wings. The two of them flew out and fell to the ground. The student representative of the Giant Beast Academy slowly said, "You can go down by yourself." That youth was the one whose feet were burned by the blazing waves just now. He touched the blood at the corner of his mouth. "This time, I also know that we can't win the championship, but I want to prove to the world that there is no such thing as mystic strength in this world. As long as you have the heart to enter, you can become a mystic cultivator." At this moment, the muscles on his body suddenly swelled. His clothes were torn by this burst of muscles. He quickly rushed forward and swung a fist in the direction of the Firebird. There was a loud boom. The Firebird was scattered by his fist. He fell to the ground and coughed twice, then rushed forward again. His figure became incomparably fast, faintly turning into 3 figures. What a showy show! One of them raised his head and shouted loudly, "Kill!" Influenced by this shout, the remaining people rushed in his direction. That youth jumped into the air. 2 people from the Giant Beast Academy rushed forward with their mystic beast bodies. In the next moment, he suddenly turned around and kicked with a force of 1,000 kilograms. After being kicked up into the air, the 2 Xian beasts that were the first to charge up also rushed forward. The 2 people who were kicked by the youth were sent flying out of the arena. The youth stood up with a hearty laugh. "The competition is not over yet, I still have a chance." Jiyu looked at the other student from the Giant Beast Academy. His mystic strength had long covered his body. "The competition is already over, don't continue." The youth looked in Jiyu's direction. "Thank you, sir, but I will never admit defeat." The leader of the Giant Beast Academy said indifferently, "Since you can force me to this extent, I admit that you are very powerful." A Firebird once again gathered above his head. The Firebird grew rapidly. The huge body of the bird floated in the air. Roar! As the Firebird roared, a demonic wind spread out in all directions. Everyone used their hands to block the remaining power of this profound energy. "Your name?" the people from the Giant Beast Academy directly asked. "Zhao Yin. I am Zhou Bushing from the Giant Beast Academy." Both of them looked at each other with satisfaction. Zhou Bushing commanded the long bird under his control and waved his fingers. In the next second, the Firebird charged in Zhao Yan's direction. The power within Zhao Yan's body also erupted. At this moment, the muscles on his body turned red. He rushed forward, and in an instant, his fist burst out with an invisible force. The 2 fists collided heavily, and the 2 forces intertwined. The 2 fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time. Then, he quickly ran forward and was grabbed by the neck. Gradually, he raised his hand. "Go down." Zhou Bushing shouted and flung him away, but he didn't expect Zhao Yan to grab his arm and kick him in the waist, using all his strength to kick him into the air. He twisted his body and continuously kicked Zhou Bushing. He roared and used his legs to clamp Zhou Bushing's body and flung him to the side. "No, the Giant Beast Academy can't be defeated here. No, absolutely not." Zhou Bushing roared and the Firebird appeared. He laid on the edge of the arena, staring fiercely in the other direction. "As long as I can defeat you, I can defeat you." He stretched out his fist and the Firebird squeezed his opponent's body. In the next second, the blazing bird squeezed half of his body. The sound of bones cracking could be heard from Zhao Yan's body. His body went limp and fell to the ground. Zhou Bushing laughed loudly. I won. The elder of the Holy Temple walked down. Looking at the 2 people around him, he said indifferently, "The match is over. It's a draw." The School of Strength and the Giant Beast Academy both advanced. The Temple Academy's people walked up to the arena. The others looked at each other. When their opponents saw them, the leader of the academy walked out and cupped his hands. "We are willing to surrender." The Imperial Academy's treatment was the same as the Temple Academy's. Jiyu and the others walked up to the arena. The people in front of them walked out and looked at each other. Following the temple elder's words, another group walked up to the arena. This one is Lin Jiwen, from the Fire Manipulation Academy. A ball of flame appeared in his hand. In the next second, it flew in Gu Jialuo's direction. Gu Jialuo didn't expect that the opponent's first target would be her. Chang Yuan rushed forward and stood in front of him. At this moment, a small layer of qi aura appeared around him. At this moment, the qi shield blocked the ball of flame. At this moment, the flame dissipated. What? You're actually an expert of the 6th level of the Spirit Profound Realm? You're really powerful. As expected of the most exciting academy tournament in the entire continent. Awesome, awesome. Chang Yuan said, "What are you talking about? Hurry up and do it." After his voice fell, the two quickly rushed forward, and Chang Yuan waved his fist. What a powerful fist, but I don't know if it can withstand my flaming fist. Blazing fist. The two profound energies quickly collided and started to fight. Chang Yuan glided and opened his eyes wide. Profound skill, 10,000 snake skulls. Countless gigantic skeletons appeared on the arena and gradually flew out. They bared their fangs and bit toward the opponent. Blazing fist. Countless fists were waved at the same time and all the skulls were sent flying. The fists were turned into broken bones. The blazing fist landed on Chang Yuan's body. Chang Yuan smiled contemptuously. Your blazing fist is useless against Grandpa. Is that so? I'm looking forward to it. If you're so powerful, should I increase my strength? Chapter 587. The flames retreated in an instant. He watched as the flames in front of him suddenly dissipated. Chang Yuan thought to himself, could it be that he had stopped? However, just as this thought appeared in his mind, the young man suddenly rushed forward again. Flames! Heavy punch. After a roar, heavy blazing fire fists directly smashed down. Boom! A loud sound rang out. At this moment, the Qi gang collided. Then, Chang Yuan suddenly turned around and landed on the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Blazing fire fists, not bad. Mystic skill, soaring bird. After shouting these words, a firebird flew into the air and landed heavily on the ground. Chang Yuan said, "Do you think that the 7th level of the Spirit Profound Realm is so weak?" He stretched out his fists and clenched them together. After throwing out a heavy punch, at this moment the mystic qi started to shatter. The young man flew out and landed outside the arena. Only then did he stand up with some resentment. How unlucky. I actually lost. You guys, attack his teammates. The rest of the people gathered the dark force in their hands. Everyone had mystic qi above the 5th level of the Spirit Profound Realm. The remaining people from the Fire Manipulation Academy quickly surrendered. Facing such a strong opponent, they immediately surrendered. The day's battle ended. Jiyu brought Xiao Gu, Catgirl, and the others to a nearby restaurant. A woman wearing a low-cut chong sam swayed her body and walked in front of Jiyu. "Young master, how many people are here?" Jiyu said faintly, "3 of you. Give me a private room." After saying this, the woman in the chong sam smiled. "Yes, young master." When they passed by a huge room, Jiyu said indifferently, "I want this room." Hearing that Jiyu wanted this room, the chong sam woman said awkwardly, "I'm sorry, sir. This room is the #1 room in the sky. It's exclusive to the royal family." At this moment, a group of valiant young men and women walked over. The person in the lead had a head of golden hair. His long hair fluttered in the wind, and he wore golden armor. The person beside him was Jiyu. He said calmly, "How dare you not kneel in front of the 5th prince?" Jiyu looked at him coldly. "Sorry, I'm not from the empire of the eastern region. I can't kneel to your king." "Impudent!" A young man following behind the 5th prince suddenly made his move. His strength was already at the 7th level of the Spirit Profound Realm. He threw a heavy punch in the direction of Jiyu. Jiyu suddenly took a step back and held the fist of the young man in front of her. The fifth prince couldn't even sense the changes in Ji-Yu's profound energy. His eyes widened as he walked forward and cupped his hands. "Qinjian, stand down." The young man snorted and took a step back. He cupped his hands and said to Ji-Yu, "I'm the fifth prince of the royal family, Zhou. May I know who you are?" Ji-Yu said indifferently, "I'm Ji-Yu. May I know if you're interested in having a meal with us?" At this moment, many people walked out. They were the students of the martial profound temple. The leader said directly, "We want this room." The Cheongsam woman looked left and right. "Gentlemen, I'm sorry. Why don't you change rooms?" The two of them looked at each other. At this moment, the experts of the Temple Academy took a step forward. "I'm Huang Shang. Get out of the way." Hearing this, the people in front of him quickly took a step back. The fifth prince pulled Qingyao, who was about to clash. He said indifferently, "If you want to use it, you can use it first." Huang Shang snorted. Just as he was about to walk in, Ji-Yu said indifferently, "Wait. His Highness the fifth prince let you in, but I haven't." Huang Shang turned his head. "Why? Are you going to stand up?" The few people from the martial spirit temple behind him laughed at the same time. Ji-Yu said indifferently, "Good. I also want to see your strength. We'll meet sooner or later." 7th level of the Spirit Profound Realm, 5th grade Puppet Master. "Be careful." After roaring these words, he took a step forward. An old man appeared in front of Ji-Yu. Profound skill, Raging Flame Iron Fist. Ding. Host used Raging Flame Iron Fist. Obtained 1 by 999 experience points. Earth Rank Profound Skill. Brat, you actually have an Earth Rank Profound Skill. The old man had a small golden light on his body. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Ji-Yu. The fist collided with the old man's body. The old man was instantly sent flying. "Brat, I advise you to save your strength. This is my golden puppet. However, for you to be able to leave a mark on my golden body puppet, you can be considered to have some ability." Ji-Yu said indifferently, "Puppet? Unfortunately, I have one too." Profound light flashed from the storage ring in his hand, and 18 golden puppets abruptly appeared. Looking at the golden puppets in front of him, the person who released the old man's puppet widened his eyes. "These are the legendary 18 Arhat golden puppet. How could they appear here? Ever since the legendary peak 9th grade puppet master fell, no one has seen such a legendary treasure. Brat, don't think of leaving today." After saying this, he took a step forward and said to Ji-Yu indifferently, "Brat, hand over the golden puppets." He abruptly turned his head and dashed forward. He pulled out a sword and slashed down heavily in front of him. Ji-Yu stretched out his hand and caught the long sword. With just a little force, the long sword instantly broke. "Kill." Ji-Yu pulled the string in his hand and the 18 golden puppets were instantly activated. They jumped up and surrounded the person in front of him. At the same time, the brat also controlled the puppets in his hand. The old man's puppet was no match for Ji-Yu's 18 golden puppets. It was beaten back repeatedly. If it wasn't for the fact that the golden puppets were infused with the blood of more than 10 human profound realm cultivators, how could they have survived? Ji-Yu raised his head and said indifferently, "Your puppets are not bad. I want them too." After saying this, he began to wave the thread in his hand. The string pinned the old man to the ground. Ji-Yu waved the long sword in his hand and cut the string. After losing control, the golden-bodied puppets came forward and took the golden-bodied puppets in front of them away in a flash. In the next moment, Ji-Yu put the old man's puppet into his storage ring. Chapter 588. The people from the temple watched as Ji-Yu put away the golden puppets in their hands. They couldn't help but feel surprised. One of them stepped forward. "Brat, hand over my golden puppets." At this moment, he was sweating profusely. The old man's puppet had a trace of his blood on it, to maintain the connection between the two. But when Ji-yu completely cut off this connection, she also suffered a certain degree of backlash. "Who are you?" the leader of the Temple Academy asked. Ji-yu said indifferently, "This one is Ji-yu, a student of the Advanced Mystic Academy. You're just a branch of our Temple Academy. If you don't hand over the puppets, you'll be expelled from the academy. You can forget about obtaining an inheritance for the rest of your life," he said proudly. Little did he know that this kind of threat had already touched Ji-yu's bottom line. Ji-yu raised her head. "You deserve to die." Mystic skill, Raging Fire Iron Fist. Ding, the host used Raging Fire Iron Fist. Obtained 1 by 999 experience point. A ball of fire accompanied Ji-yu's fist, sending it forward. But at this moment, one of the people from the Temple Academy stepped forward. Mystic skill, Water Wave Fist. The two people's fists collided. A wave of mystic energy swept out in all directions, causing everything in the surroundings to collapse. The fifth prince was angry. "Is your Temple Academy going to war with the imperial family?" Hearing his words, the leader of the Temple Academy retracted his hand and took 2 steps back, saying indifferently, "Our Temple Academy has always been a good friend of the royal family. Farewell." They all cupped their hands, but the leader of the Temple Academy turned around and said indifferently, "Ji-yu, we'll see you later." After they left, the fifth prince invited Ji-yu into the restaurant. After tasting the dishes, they bid farewell and left. After Ji-yu left, the 2 people behind him asked the fifth prince, "Your Highness, why are you treating this brat so well?" After they finished speaking, the fifth prince slowly opened his mouth and said, "I feel that this person is not simple. He might be of use in the future. Reporting to your Highness, the Emperor wishes to see you." "Got it. We'll face the profound Soul Temple sooner or later." He clenched his fist. Ji-yu brought Xiao Gu and the feline girl back to the academy dormitory. As soon as Chong Yuan and the rest returned, they went to bed early. Gu Jialua knocked on Ji-yu's door. Ji-yu opened the door and asked, "Jiara, what's the matter?" Looking at Xiao Gu and the Catwoman behind Ji-yu, Gu Jialua blushed. "Ji Gongzi, may I speak to you in private?" "Yes." Ji-yu nodded and led Gu Jialua to the center of the square. He looked at Gu Jialua. "Can you tell me now?" Gu Jialua said, "In the upcoming Mystic Master competition, I feel that I don't have any strength to fight back. Aren't you around the 5th level of the Spirit Profound Realm?" Gu Jialua nodded and said with a bit of grievance, "But my mystic skills are all for adding attributes to others." When he said this, Ji-yu immediately understood. Ji-yu took a step forward and said indifferently, "I understand. You want me to teach you mystic skills?" Gu Jialua shook her head. "I've learned many offensive mystic skills since I was young, but I haven't learned any of them." Ji-yu said indifferently, "You're a natural support mystic master." "Yes, we're natural support mystic masters. We're born to support others. Even if we cultivate to a certain level, we won't have the strength to protect ourselves. I'm worried that I'll become a burden to everyone." Ji-yu looked at Gu Jialua, whose eyes were filled with tears. He said indifferently, "All right, I'll teach you physical skills." After saying that, Ji-yu took out a long scroll from his storage ring and handed it to Gu Jialua. Gu Jialua looked at the scroll in her hand and wanted to read it excitedly. Ji-yu said indifferently, "I'll demonstrate it for you once." Ji-yu immediately used the mystic skill according to her memory. After seeing Ji-yu's mystic skill, Gu Jialua kept twirling her 2 index fingers in small circles. "Big brother Ji-yu is so amazing," he taught Gu Jialua. Gu Jialua's learning speed also exceeded Ji-yu's expectations. "Alright, let's try it." Gu Jialua raised her fist and stuffed the excess into the stocking at the side. "Master, you have to be careful." Gu Jialua quickly ran along the side of the road and rushed forward. She jumped up and twisted her body. She quickly used the strength of her waist to channel all her mystic energy into her right leg and kicked in the direction of Ji-yu. Ji Yu's aura suddenly appeared. Dang, Ji Yu's aura fluctuated slightly. He was at the peak of the 9th level of the spirit profound realm. How could Gu Jialua kick away his aura? In the blink of an eye, she disappeared from her original spot and said to Ji Yu, "I don't want to listen to you. You're bullying me." Ji Yu asked, "How did I bully you?" She snorted coldly and crossed her arms. Ji Yu walked forward and reached out his hand. Just as he was about to stroke Gu Jialua's head, a ray of light suddenly appeared in Gu Jialua's eyes. Gu Jialua lowered her body and aimed her other leg at Ji Yu's chin. Ji Yu saw the scenery under her skirt. This girl, didn't she wear leggings? Just as he thought of this, Ji Yu had already flown into the air. Gu Jialua followed Ji Yu and kept kicking in the direction of Ji Yu with her long legs. Ji Yu had taught her the most important part of the mystic technique. It was speed and the explosive power of her legs. Ji Yu stood up from the ground. If it wasn't for his extraordinary physique, he would have been knocked down long ago. But falling from the sky, the last kick was the most important one. Looking at the leg in front of her, Ji Yu reached out and grabbed the seductive long leg in front of her. Under the moonlight, Gu Jialua's seductive long leg was even more alluring. Ji Yu swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Gu Jialua pulled back his leg and her face instantly turned red. He said faintly, "Today's training will end here." Gu Jialua walked forward and said with a red face, I'll come back tomorrow to learn from Master." After saying that, Gu Jialua rushed to Ji Yu's side and kissed him lightly on the cheek. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.